I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember, like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right, greetings, good evening, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. After a long weekend, I am back. Right, had some very important things to cover. Listen, we have a whole lot of things that we're going to get through today. We have earthquake to talk about, but I have two very important guests in the background. As usual, I want you to hit the like button, subscribe, and share the content so we get as many persons as possible. Our lines will be opened as well at some point to receive some calls, but I have guests on different continents right now. And they're very important, and I don't want to delay them because they're busy men, and I'm very sure none of them have 4 hours, which is sometimes the length of the shows on this channel, to be on here. They probably have an hour maximum, so we want to maximize the time. I will introduce the one who was here first. You know him very well. When he's not on the platform here, he's in the comment section under many monikers, right? Especially depending on the comment he's going to make. He uses a different moniker to go by. He's known in the KC area, and also at Rossi's, who are doing well. So he must be very happy with his school performance. His Premier League team is also doing well as well. And he's none other than Mr. Stan Cranky himself. Welcome.
Morning, man.
Morning.
I've woken up and I say, you know what? Why don't I just run my mouth for an hour and a half or so? Why don't I come hang out with Mannix, man, and talk football, which is my favorite subject to talk. But it's good to be here. As you say, I'm out of the country. And I woke up half hour ago and said, you know what? I'm going to need to hang out with Mannix, man, for a while before I go to work. For my driver come pick me up and take me to the office and get me through this challenging traffic I always have in India, where you just I said, whoa, you miss. Because almost like you're going to be in an accident 24/7 driving from one location to the next. Yeah. But it's all good to be here.
So like he could be in Mumbai or in Delhi. We don't know.
I am in Mumbai. I didn't sleep for like 36 hours on my trip to come here because I think I've mentioned this before. I struggle to sleep on flights. So I left New York at 11:30 Sunday. And the flight was about 12 hours. And then there's a 2-hour stopover in Dubai. And then a 3 hours to get here. But I'm here and ready to talk football, so it's a good thing.
We also have with us, from Reggae Boy Commentary. He's a part of the national setup. He is the team media officer. If you want to know anything concerning football, especially Jamaica's football and the history of it, this is the man you need to talk to. I don't know. Maybe because he used to swat things to be on School Challenge quiz when he was back in the day. So he remembers a whole lot of things. And I know that he's well connected to what is happening in terms of female football. So we want to welcome from Reggae Boys Commentary. He needs to change that name though, because he talks about the girls as well. You need to call it just Reggae Sports Commentary or something like that. You understand? We have Simon Preston. Yeah, welcome, Simon.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to Sir Cronky. Hope you both are doing well and that your furniture is in good standing as well, especially after what the last week was presented.
Yeah. Are you aware, Cronky, that we had a 5.6 magnitude earthquake with aftershocks and stuff like that?
So I woke up this morning and my phone was littered with pictures. Someone showed someone in Barbican where the whole shelves of the supermarket, all the merchandise was on the floor. So yes, I got up and was aware of it. Yes, and that's not normal for Jamaica, is it? That's not normal. So
and you know what is happening though. I think many people will be happy to know that Owen's flat screen fell off the wall where it was catched and it is now broken. So he has admitted that he'll be using his transistor radio to listen. So he cannot give he will not be able to come on any channel and give any breakdown and analysis of any play because he has no TV to watch at the present moment. But let me begin with and then Cranky, you can piggyback after this because I know you want to talk about resetting the relationship between the JFF and the senior players, both men and women. But Simon, I want you to begin by just talk to us a little bit about the status of the Gold Cup campaign on the female side and how the qualification process works for that, and when is the next window of games for the female team?
All right, so similar to the men, you have the League A, League B, League C. So the women have it as well, although it's not called the Nations League on the women's side, but they do have the same format as well, League A, B, and C. And the way the process works for the Women's Gold Cup in February next year is that the top team from each of the League A groups will qualify for the Women's Gold Cup next year. Presently, as we know, Jamaica are third in the group. So what does that mean? Well, as I said, if you finish at the top of your group, you automatically qualify for the Women's Gold Cup. If you finish second, you go to a playoff, which will be in February next year. And if you finish third in the group, you miss out on Gold Cup qualification. You won't get relegated to League B, but you won't qualify for the Gold Cup. So it's a lot of work to be done. And I know many people will be wondering, well, who could you play in the playoff? Well, there's also 3 League B groups as well. And the team that finishes top of their group in League B, they will go to the playoffs. So Jamaica, if Jamaica were to finish second, would face one of the likes of a Barbados, a Bermuda, a Guyana, or a Suriname, because those teams right now are doing really well in League B. So those are one of the likely teams should Jamaica finish second. But as we know, their maximum points will be needed for Jamaica to not only finish second, but even to top the group as well. So a point on the board, of course, disappointment not to be able to get anything in Panama, but it's a start. And come November 29, we will host Panama at home at the National Stadium. And then our last game in the qualifiers in this part will be December 3 against Guatemala in Guatemala. So the good news, fate is still in Jamaica's hands because 2 wins puts Jamaica at the top of the group and automatically qualifies for the Gold Cup. And of course, if you finish second, then you go to a playoff, which is February next year, which will be 3 days before the start of the Women's Gold Cup. So those are some of the permutations that lie ahead for the girls.
Yeah. What do you make of the performance? I mean, the squad was called up at basically short notice. Some friends from all over the place came in. Tough first game, took the lead. in this game, couple of blunders. What do you make of the team's overall performance over these 2 games? And do you think we can make it with this crop of players, or it will be, and if the original 24 are available, are there players from this present team that can make out a more competitive 24 for the next couple of games?
Yeah, I understand. And I must say, firstly, I'm disappointed by some of the comments online that when the squad was announced, there were some predicting some outrageous score lines against the Reggae Girls. But if they really took a deeper dive on things and not be myopic, persons would have seen the quality that was actually there as well. Yes, you do have some that are parading their talents in collegiately, but you do have some outstanding professionals part of that roster as well that have been playing for years and years and years. The likes of Melissa Johnson has been playing for over a decade, top scorer in the championship. Marla Sweatman, Chinyela Asho, who were part of the World Cup roster in 2019. Alia Morgan, outstanding goalkeeper at George Mason University, amongst a few others. So for me personally, to answer your specific question, spirited performance yesterday against Guatemala, and the close to 1,000 fans that came out, they were on their feet, and it was great to see the bands and the drums as well. The moment that the whistle blew to the 90th minute, so that consistency was there as well. We had the chances to win the game. As you know, Guatemala are a diminutive team, so the long ball over the top helped, and also from set pieces. I do think that 3 points we could have gotten up, but we press forward, we move on forward. Someone like Marla Sweatman, she arrived on the island Friday, she trained Saturday, and she played the Sunday. So it was an absolute quick turnaround for her. And the reason for that, why she wasn't available for the first game, she had a UEFA academy course to do in Vienna. So I know many people were saying, did she pull out from the Panama game? But no, she had to do a course in Austria as she's furthering her credentials, especially in talent identification for women. But the last part of your question, if there's any players that could, from this pool, that could move forward into the November window. The centre forward, Melissa Johnson, who scored the first goal yesterday, for me, that is one of them for certain. Of course, Marlo and Chinyelo did good service for themselves in the middle of the park. And at the back, I would go to Alika Keane. Although the likes of the Swaby sisters stand out, and I think that position is solid and firm, I do think having the depth in terms of squad is imperative. And Alika, despite the Panama own goal, I do think that she reads the game well. And she's the only Jamaican that we have playing in the Champions League across both genders as well. So she's going to be exposed to PSG and many other teams this campaign. So I look forward to that consistency that she's going to have as well. So those would be the 4 that I would say pressing forward in terms of adding to what we had in the World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. But one thing for sure, many people can see that there is an abundance of depth in the diaspora in North America and also in the UK as well. So the depth is there, and I'm looking forward to what lies ahead as well.
Yeah, and this should segue into what Cranky wants to speak about, because like I said, here are 4 names, and somebody's asking about Zoe, that I think Walker, whose father played for Jamaica College back in the days, he's over there working with Bobby Tigo Austin in their academy out there in the States. She's also there. So which is, I say, a very important point, because Cranky is saying, how do you reset the relationship between, let's look at the women's side first, and the federation in this context, because it's so difficult, because if players are probably not called up, it could come across as because of the action, but some players performed, and it could be because they have performed better. So to strike that balance will be a very difficult move going ahead. So Cranky, what question do you have in relation to that, and what is your comment? Don't know if you even had an opportunity to watch the game yesterday.
No, I was well in the sky yesterday. I couldn't watch the game. I watched Man U versus Man City because it was on the TV actually when I was flying over. But I couldn't watch the game.
What's the score in that game, though?
It was 3, right? Either 3 or 4, one of them. I didn't fall asleep, but the Wi-Fi was coming in and out. But as it relates to, I think it's with the players in general. I know we haven't heard too many from the men's team of late. You and Simon must be muffling them. Put your hands over their mouth and have them not speak. Because I know it could just be perfect after you two just joined, but it seems to have gotten better in terms of the communication we're getting from the camp. But I do think it's an imperative for the JFF and the players to reset the relationship. It doesn't resonate well in the public domain when you hear constant animosity between the players and the organization, right? We had Wint who got moved out because of conflict with the player. We used to hear about a lot of logistics challenges. And now with the female team, we're hearing stuff. It's even worse than what was with the men, even though the men boycotted the game in Austria, the friendly with the US way back when, 3 years ago. The situation has not improved with the women, and we have to pivot, right? I know as Jamaicans, a lot of time we have huge egos, and we believe in authority and the role of authority. But I do think at some point, you have to take a step back and say, you know what? How can we change this to make it an amicable relationship going forward? And to make sure we all have the same objective and are working towards that objective. And currently, it doesn't seem the case. So how do you reset the relationship? And it will have to take some, both sides will have to put their grievances aside and decide that, you know what, we are patriots, we're working for a common cause. We may not agree in the past, but we have to change behavior, change how we engage. And we have to be transparent on both sides and actually go to the table with an open mind versus what I believe now is a closed mind in terms of how we engage. And that needs to be done and need to be done yesterday. Because as Simon alluded to, come November, come whatever time it is, maybe next February when we are playing the games going forward, the girls will really realize that, you know what, we have missed out on something important subsequent to the World Cup when we've done really well if we're not in the Gold Cup. They're losing. The JFF will probably lose funding, and the fans will lose watching us play and lose the entertainment and excitement comes with watching the regular girls play who have done really well. And how can you come off a tournament where you've done the best in your history, getting lauded by the world, but yet you're not happy? That just seems to be contradictory, frankly. We should have all been happy. The girls should be happy. They would have gotten paid. They would have played well. They would have gotten all the accolades that come with winning and with doing well. And the best performing team in the Caribbean, better than how Canada played in the World Cup. Canada had their problems. Equal to the US. We're at that level, and yet we're at the point talking about grievances. So I do think the administration need to come to the table more humbled in terms of how they engage. I'll give you an example, man. So you hear me say this a lot of times. I don't think the girls should, for example, this is an example, should decide who their coach is. But I do think what you could do is sit with the girls, the leadership team, because I heard they had a leader from each of the region, the US, Europe, and Jamaica, to say, you know what, let's talk through what we're looking for in the coach. And girls who want your input, whether or not it's superficial, whether or not it's genuine or not. But if you engage in this man, I feel part of the collective versus feel as like I'm an individual and not part of that collective. So I do think on both sides, the goal should be to work in tandem, work as a body going forward, and make sure we're transparent on logistics, on funding, on resourcing, on personalities, because we know how some people are in the administration, and we know how some of the girls are. We've seen in the public domain, both sides are not right. And I say this a lot, man, you hear me say this term a lot. Being right also doesn't make you effective. In fact, in this case, being right is making you very ineffective because you're entrenched in your position because you think you're right. And you have no leeway and you give no accommodation for anyone's perspective because you think you're right. And because you're right, you're on the side of right, you're going to do what you think you should do because you're on the side of right. So that needs to change. That needs to change. In fact, when you're right, man, is when you should be more humble because you know you're right. You can give some leeway. But I do think it's very, very important for both sides to work as a team to go forward. And management, we have a litany of female players playing in, Simon talked about university. And I know personally, colleague of mine who has 2 playing in universities right now, a litany of them playing in University Manningsman, and with ability to say even consider playing for Jamaica. But why would I want to play for a team which seems to just be dysfunctional in disarray, and even though we're doing well on the field, can't get along with the administration? That doesn't work. I'm sure it's probably the same in England, even though the English league in the women is not as diverse as one would like it to be, like the men's league. But I think that's very, very important. And I think this is a knock-on effect, even for players on the men's side who may want to play for the country, saying, do I want to go into this situation where the administration is constantly having negative publicity in the public domain? Do I really want to be in that environment? Is it different from with the men's team? So I do think it's important for us to reset and really come together. And the girls also have to give in. They can't just be as stubborn as they've been, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. They also have to come to the table with an open mind to have that dialogue, reset the relationship, to allow us to move forward in a more effective manner.
Yeah, very well said, Cranky. But in this case, what I'd ask you is, who makes the first step towards
the adults in the room? Wait. I'm gonna say the adults in the room, not the girls, but the administration should be the adults in the room at a minimum, right? Not that the ladies are not the adults, but if you talk about that sort of term you would use, if you're the administration, then you need to take charge and lead. Don't be followers, lead. I think they should take the first step.
Yeah.
And the girls have to be receptive to that. It can't be I take the step and then you see there's an affront or you don't want to engage with me and we can't definitely engage. You have to come to the table though with an open mind. You have to put your grievances aside and you have to be willing. You have to be willing to have the dialogue.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, Simon, is this kind of thing unprecedented in terms of I don't want to call it a standoff, that like something of this happening where it actually affect result? Because the truth is, one of the things that all of us can admit is that if we had the best, the 23 players coming out of the World Cup in this game, maybe the results would have been different. I even look at that first game. I see where we could have exposed the Panamanian, and this is not knocking the team that played, because I think given the short notice, they must be commended. We don't know what the conditions are like, and Coach Xavier Gilbert as well, because this was minimal preparation, and they like I said, many people had this idea that would have been knocked out of the park. So let them be commended. But is this unprecedented that such an action has been taken in the sport of football at this level that possibly could see us missing out on a major regional competition and probably have long-term financial effect, and then to what end? And what Cranky is suggesting is necessary, like there be a compromise on both ends for a better future for the sport.
I was just going to touch on the point you mentioned, because this Women's Gold Cup tournament is the last major tournament on the women's side until World Cup qualifying starts for them again. The next Women's World Cup being 2027 and qualifiers being 2025. So this Women's Gold Cup is the last major opportunities outside of the other FIFA windows that may be used for friendly internationals to really test yourself against the world and of course a great global audience as well, because this is the inaugural Women's Gold Cup. So it's a massive tournament, and we Jamaica want to be one of those 12 teams that are in it, especially bearing in mind the MOU that has been signed with South America. So Brazil will be there, Colombia will be there, Paraguay will be there. So a great opportunity to expose our talents to the world. I personally believe that communication is important, communication is key, and the next women's window is in another 4 weeks from now. So between now and then, it's important that the communication lines are open to ensure that everything falls into place smoothly by the time November comes around and the men's window shuts on the 21st and 22nd.
Yeah, Cranky, anything you want to add?
No, I think Simon is right, and I didn't realize that there's no tournament before the World Cup qualifiers. So, I mean, if you're one of the female players in the 23 that decided, or whatever number was that decided not to play, you're missing out on a big tournament. You're the one having fun when you're playing. I think people realize that. and the girls sometimes don't realize that, which is you're giving up something which is not normal. Okay, if you only have 2 major tournaments in a 2 or 3 or 4 year period, why wouldn't you want to participate? At the same time, I know you have your principles, and I know that they're a problem. We have to figure a way to work through this, actually, and not just stand your ground. It doesn't make sense to me.
Concrete, you know what I find is majority of players, you could say, have another cycle in them, apart from the goalkeeper, Becky Spencer in her mid-30s, Tiffany Cameron in her early 30s. The vast majority of the squad in their early 20s. So
even Joe is a little on the older side as well.
Drew Spence is 31, because she born 92. So outside of those 3 names that we may mention, everybody else mid-20s or early 20s. Sydney Schneider is in her early 20s and a number 2. So you can imagine the excitement of what the squad could evolve down the road to the next World Cup as well. Some will be approaching their peak. Joy Brown is going to be 25 at the next World Cup. She's not professional yet. So you can only imagine the excitement when these players approach their peak or approach their mid-20s. It's really should be an exciting time to look forward to. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and if you're a player who's on the cusp of, say, the US team or the English team, and you're wavering whether I should represent Jamaica or not, with what's happening, why would you even consider it? If you're looking for new talent management. So I do think there's a lot of things to consider as we go forward, and I do think both parties need to put aside their grievances and come to the table.
Yeah, you see the thing that I think must be navigated with. It's like you're walking through landmines. Is I believe that there's a Keane, Johnson, Day, and Sweatman, even Chinelu. Those 5 are good enough to make the mix if the World Cup players are all available. The issue is going to be if 5 of them get replaced, right? Does that affect them? Seeing that, you joined probably with players who have cemented their place in the team. And now players came in, proved themselves, and you were not selected. Does it feel like, boy...
Man, the squad is 23. And if the coach has autonomy, the coach has to select the 23 best players. Let's go with any situation, right? Donaldson had to make
no consideration to include
the 23 best at a point in time. So, and now you have a bigger pool to pick from. And so if you're going to make that decision based clearly on who you think fit the style of play, how you want to play, and is going to do what you think is necessary to get you results and outcome. Nothing to do with who was there previously or who is there now.
So that means
you have a guaranteed spot in the 20.
A new coach wouldn't come in and say, listen, given that the 23 or the 24 that were at the World Cup, with the exception of Matthews, once they're fit, I would have to work with these 23 because it's not like they were not good enough. It's just that they were unavailable. Right? Isn't that...
But management. In life, that happens all the time, right? Think about, this is not best analogy, but if you use that analogy, Sterling would be in the England team, right? Meaning I'm part of the World Cup squad that played in December. I should be squads going forward. I played for England. I'm a veteran. It doesn't have a boycott situation, but you pick the best team based on the players you have at your disposal. And there is no way you can make allowance for that 23 to say they all should be in the team when some may not be playing well. Now, it's very difficult to make that assessment because the new coach, they may or may not know all the players, but he or she has to pick the 23 best that's available.
Yeah, I think there is more Ducklands out there that any player who doesn't get picked is going to come across as if it's a sort of retribution for taking such action.
So retribution would be if I don't pick any of the leaders of the 3 locales, right? Because think about it this way, and I'm sure the leaders are probably some of the better players, right? I'm sure it's probably Spence is one of those from the European region. How do you select that 5? How would people think that 5 gets selected if they're not part of the 23? So if you're not selecting the leaders, that means how you make that determination. Those who are on the fringes and somebody just a little bit better, that's going to happen, Manning's band, when these things happen. But your spot is never guaranteed in a team. If you're picking, if you're being agnostic in your selection, a spot is never guaranteed.
Yeah. All right. Interesting thought, because I remember when Jamaica, I think some of the players decided not to go. Was it Saudi Arabia?
No, when they went to Australia to play the US, which one? Oh, you mean Saudi Arabia? Okay.
Or was it in Austria when we went to play the US and some players didn't go?
Yeah, they boycotted.
Right. And then was that the game we brought in like Jamal Lowe and Pinnock and Moore and those guys? And yes. I think that some players lost their game.
Because better players came in. I mean, isn't that what happened?
But here's my issue, right? Here's my issue. Like I still think that there is a serious issue, because remember, if I am part of the original 23 and I decide that I have to, in support of my team, I cannot say no, I'm not. I know that my position in the team, I'm not a regular starter. I could be, say, a fringe player, right? And then will the team stand up for me if I don't get selected, because the argument is somebody else is better? And I know that...
Manning's man, you're going on a slippery slope like we go down all the time. Then you're saying, like we're talking about the coach, the team is going to select their friends to be on the team or their players they played before. We can't go down that slope.
Okay.
The coach is the authority in making selections. The players can't advocate and determine who should be part of the contingent of players who are part of that program. No. So I think the fans actually, who also I think have some tangential influence, should realize that, which is whatever new coach come in, give the coach a latitude to make their selection, and don't take it as a grievance or something negative against those who were part of that. The carrot pack up squad, I call them, the ones who boycott. Don't think about it that way. Don't think about it that way.
Yeah. But there is for those who aren't JPL fans, Arnett Gardens 2, Mullines 0, Philando wing, and for Arnett, and then J. Cooper scored an own goal, so they're leading Mullines by 2 goals. Simon, I mean, Cranky and I will go and continue with some on the boys' side and some other stuff. But tell us about our U20s, because there is a U20 tournament coming up. Is that the qualifiers for the U20 World Cup? When does the team come together? What is up for our under 20 in terms of preparation? And then, because I know you have to go, and then I want to make sure I ask you the important questions so we can get back to the discussion and the other things before you have to run.
Yeah, the under 20s, certainly John Wall has been doing a fantastic job in terms of preparing the troops, not only domestic camps that he has been having since March, but also being the head of talent ID, looking at the best of what is available to us in North America and also within the UK as well. So it's been great from that standpoint. So very pleased about that. And I'm sure, pieces will be put together in terms of friendly matches that will lie ahead for the rest of this calendar year, and an exciting time for February when the qualifiers start. Jamaica's group will be in St. Kitts against Bermuda, Martinique, and Grenada. Top team advances to the CONCACAF final round, and that will be shortly after the Copa America tournament. And of course, folks on the island can tune tomorrow to Sabina Park to watch Cavalier against Harbourview. A Jamaican club will qualify for the CONCACAF Champions League, so an exciting moment for a Jamaican club tomorrow qualifying for this prestigious competition.
Yes.
I appreciate you having me on, and feel free to buzz me anytime.
Yeah, man, as usual, always good having you. You know what? It's funny, Simon, all of these people asking about players and stuff, when they see it, they don't ask any questions, And you're the man who's talking about what's in it? Oh, he's gone. I hear one question. Hey, Simon, return. What's the deal? Because I'm very sure some of the fans want to know what's the deal with, some of the players. But you're right. So resetting the relationship. So you have been saying that the JFF, Simon is back. All right. So So Cranky and the fans want to know what's the deal because they have been following you. What's the deal? So they want to know what's the deal, what's the new deal because they haven't been hearing any. What's the deal? What's under.
I'm about to pick with Simon. Simon take too long to tell me what the deal is because I'm on the run and Simon I build up this suspense. And me just say, I'm gonna bite my tongue. So Simon, tell me what the deal is so we can move forward. But anyway, Simon, go ahead.
What is the deal? All right.
They're talking about the senior teams. Whenever they ask a deal, they want to know what's going on with the players that we have been hearing about.
Okay. Well, for November, what we can say is expect strong, formidable, and we're going to continue that run of our unbeaten run against Canada on home soil. I'm confident about that, 100%.
So when Simon made that comment, we should expect some, you mean formidable new players, you're saying?
No. Well, yeah, Manningsman has been training at left back, so I think it's been working out well.
Who's training at left back?
Manningsman.
Left back for what?
Left back in the dressing room.
Left back is one of our stronger positions now.
He's talking about that team that they put up with Simon and me and Earl Bailey and Speed and all of those people. That is what he's talking about. I don't know who made that, but Duckland says he wants you to tell him about the number 17 Simon, the defender last night.
Number 17, I think that's Zoe Vidor, who scored the second goal. She's also in college as well. She's known for rolling up her sleeves, and you can see it in the game. So when she does that, it's a game that she's on. I know many people in the comments spoke about the other centre half being better than Alika. 100%. I was just thinking about squad depth. But the other persons were mentioning Lauren Reed in terms of the better centre half. I was thinking about squad depth, Alika. But I think there's some encouraging signs to take, from the performance, bearing in mind a mixture of college girls, a veteran in England, top scorer in the championship, and also at the back as well, having a few persons that have represented the country before. So I think we can be proud, honestly.
The team could actually won both games in the Manningsman. I watched the first game, even though Panama had better chances. But apart from two defensive mistakes, they could have won the game if luck was on their side. So,
yeah. Simon, next question is, when is the squad for the Guatemala game going to be announced? I am going to that game, says this person.
Yeah, so usually in terms of the squad announcements for the boys, it's usually 1 week prior to a game. So November 4, November 5, that's when it can be revealed. Of course, it's a very delicate situation because you still have players in season in USL, in season in MLS. So I would ask for patience from the fans where that is concerned so that everything can be set in place for players that are domestically on the island in JPL, USL, and also the MLS players that would be available for the game.
Yeah. All right, and somebody saying, who is it? The number 22, does she play locally?
22. To look at the match card,
She almost looked like she had low hair.
22. Light skin.
Yeah, and so, she cut her hair her hair is like mine.
She was in Israel, but because of the conflict going on, she returned back to Jamaica. So domestic born, but she doesn't play for a club locally. She played for Arnett, though, back in 2019.
Okay, she was at the World Cup?
She wasn't at the World Cup, no, in 2019, but she was part of the qualifiers when we won on the penalty kicks against Panama.
Okay. All right. Listen, thank you, Simon. Appreciate it, man, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Man, yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh, they're asking what's the deal. Simon is gone. Yeah. So, Cranky, let's get back to so let's get back to some of this. So I agree with you about the pathway going forward, that there needs to be dialogue. I think, and I also believe that though there can be some private discussions, there needs to be almost like a joint statement.
Definitely. I mean, look, if first of all, you need to work in the background to get to a good place and be genuine with that statement, right? Has to be your work or difference in the background as quickly as possible and come forward with that picture and with that perspective that you're working for a common cause and you're going to work hard and work well to achieve that. And the common cause is the relationship between the organization and the players and with what we're trying to do on the football field.
Yeah, and then again, I mean, like this is not, over the years we have also, like you have suggested, had issues with the male team as well.
Yeah. What's the elephant in the room with both situations? What's the elephant? Well, the women have much more, but what's the big elephant in the room in both situations?
Really, for me, I think it's a matter of communication, both not enough communication, no proper communication, how it is done, when it is done.
Right.
And probably sometime a questioning of the motive. It's almost like you don't hear anything until crisis, which is never, if you speak to your spouse only when there is crisis, you're going to have a blow up, because people either explode or implode. And is when we explode or implode, then we begin to talk. But maybe careful how we use the elephant in the room. People, when it's the elephant in the room,
well, the thing in the room, which is so explain it, it's something that is the big problem, but people don't feel comfortable talking about, right? The big elephant to me, you can say there are smaller elephants and there is the mother elephant, right?
All right, listen,
So
people, let me just explain, because some of these people will walk away. When Cranky says mother elephant, please do not walk away from the show and say that Cranky is saying that somebody's mother is an elephant.
Yeah, so let me explain. So people I know people take this thing literally. What I'm saying is that overarchingly, the two items which supposedly broke the camel's back is another colloquial term, or made it challenging. For the men's team was money not being paid, so it didn't go to Austria, right? For the women's team is the compensation subsequent to the World Cup. But as you said, if you stop asking the question why, because if you want to find the root cause of anything, man, you keep asking why till you can't ask why anymore. Why was that the situation? Well, as you said, respect and communication were not what they're supposed to be. Because we sat down on the table and work out all the logistics about all these things. My monetary situation, my finances, what I can afford you. I can make the decision management as a player, whether to come to play or not, because I know I may not get paid, or I know you have financial challenges, right? Same with the women's team in terms of, and women's is a bigger issue, frankly, because the women feel disrespected, and respect is part of that team in a management. If you heard when Lowe put out that messaging with the JFF way back when, the women feel that the administration, which is male dominant, didn't support the women's program, didn't respect the women's program, didn't support the program. So there's a history there, and if it wasn't for Cinderella, we wouldn't have a program. And then when they're doing well, the administration wants to take credit, but then there's a lot of different stuff that comes with that, which is in terms of what they're used to in their club team is not reflected in the national team. They're not giving the resources they need to give them the best chance to play at the field and be successful. They want to be involved in some decision making, which your administration said that can't be the case. And that animosity just builds up over the year and culminated with what transpired this last window.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So you have to work through what are all the different things that is creating some of these challenges: respect, money, communication, XYZ. What are all these things that informs the challenge that we're facing? And then how do we help to mitigate these things going forward, or effectively change the dynamics of the environment to make sure, you know what? And I said this the other day, management, again and again, about transparency. And you can translate that to communication. You can translate that to intellectual acumen, management. All these things come in it, which is, if you're a smart person and you want a good outcome, you have to make sacrifices, management. And people sometimes hear when people settle in court, when they settle cases, that they're guilty, that's why they settle. No. Because think about it, management. If I have to pay you 10 million and the lawyer fee is going to be 20 million, and I have to eat some humble pie, why wouldn't I give you 10 and move on, management? Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes you might do it on principle, but I'm saving myself 10 million. Why wouldn't I do that? Yeah. We don't know how to eat humble pie. We don't need to make compromises. We want to have our way 24/7, and that doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah, but so this one is saying let me get tough Rudy, because there are some very interesting Manins. Do you think there will be a fourth issue with the girls returning because they will request no retaliation from JFF? I think to kind of begin to think about fourth issue is almost posturing disposition. The girls always have issues. Like and I don't think that is a good starting place for anything. It's almost like you enter into a negotiation or a discussion, believing that there is problem no matter what I do. And if you do that, you're setting up yourself to fail in the because you're going to be negotiating on eggshells, or you'll be discussing matters on eggshell. You just have to believe that like what do the things like this is a good step. Like the JFF outside of the girls, just football in general, should commit to a process of paying per DM before and not after. Like at least get that. Like there are certain steps you can take that shows that we are making an effort to do things better. All right.
Mannings,
Then
man,
the second thing, go ahead.
yeah, every team has problem, Mannings, man. You think that Ben White not playing for England because he's not good enough, or in the squad because he's not good enough, Mannings, man? It's just that how do you manage those problems, Mannings, man? So a lot of teams have problems, whether it was players and coaches, whether it was administration. These things occur. But the question is, do you manage it behind closed doors, or do you publicize the information? We seem to think that the best way to approach this is to publicize it. Other organizations work behind the scenes to get to a good place. US had problems with their men's team and their women's team. Canada had problems with their women's team and their men's team. France had problems with women's team and their men's team. Think about all these countries who we use as examples. They all have problems, man. Some are in the public domain, and sure, there's much more happening behind the scenes we don't know about. But do we make compromise? Have we have people who are big enough, who can subside or put aside their ego and work for what they're trying to achieve, management, which is a win-win situation? You hear me say this all the time, and not just me to have my way. So
yeah,
hopefully we can do that.
Yeah, but at the same, so Cranky, if you manage people, and if there are staff issues, and if you said, okay, I'm going to begin to pay a little bit more attention to my staff welfare, and you say you create a lunchroom and you start cooking food and providing lunch for them, right? And an action like that kind of creates an environment that you probably can justify not giving them a bonus at Christmas because they see other changes happening. I think what has happened is that there has been a long and ongoing set of issues, and the perception is nothing is changing, so no excuse is warranted anymore. In other words, if I were making certain steps, then whatever reason I come up with as to why I can't meet certain obligation would be easier understood, because people could look and say, well, at least they have been ensuring that we get our per diem. At least they have been ensuring that, while we are not involved, say, in who is the coach, at least they say, listen, before it goes out into the public, we know that here are the 5 coaching options. They are not asking us to say who the coach is. They are just letting us know that there are 5 options out there that they are considering. And maybe those things will give you a little bit more bargaining chip when you go to the table, which is what I'm saying, better communication with your stakeholders. Because whether we like it or not, without a senior male team and senior female team, your program is bound to collapse. They're like the driving force to everything else.
Yeah, and there's much more interest in the senior teams, right? But I'll say this management, which is communication and transparency. Because you have to communicate well enough, but if you're not telling me, if you're not giving me all the facts or the key facts, then that communication may not mean much, right? It's the transparency of the communication, management. So here's an example, management. When I was flying over here, I was thinking about this. I was saying, I don't know how Gray does this. And I hear Maverick talk about commitment and patriotism and those things. Manningsman is a long flight, Manningsman. So I finished playing that game for Hal Ilal, who he plays for. I'm digressing here a little bit. I gotta jump on a plane and fly 15 hours, 16 hours to Jamaica, Manningsman. And fly back 16 hours. Think about it, and it's a long flight, you're tired. to play 3 hours, Mannings, man. 2 90-minute games. So I gotta fly 30 hours to play 3 hours. I would say sometimes, is it really worth it? And then I put up with some stress with some administration with me all the time. Are people questioning my loyalty and my commitment? So here's the thing, management. Go back to the whole communication thing, which is, and transparency, which is, I do think the adults in the room, and not this is not with the girls, meaning the people who are in this position of power, need to really sit down and look into themselves, look in the mirror, and say, are they doing what's best to get a good outcome? Are they doing what's best to make sure the program is in the right direction? Are they doing what's best? Are they doing their best to make sure the girls are at the table? They listen to the girls or the women. People keep it called girls, them start get upset. The women's contention, their gripes, their grievances, are they taken into consideration? Also, are the girls being fair in terms of how they're approaching this? Are they open-minded? Or are they closed-minded? You talk about leading people. You have to lead. Both sides have to lead. Because there's 3 leaders on the women's side in terms of from the different regions who represent the team. And you have the administration who have to lead. And right now, people are following. They are leading. They are following each other to show who's toughest and who can be the most difficult. They're not leading.
Yeah. No, Henry saying, disagree, Mannings. You are going in the wrong direction if you're letting them pick who the coach is. No, I didn't say that.
Henry, move along with your. You like to do this. Nobody's saying pick the coach. You know. So here's an example, management. I'm gonna put management inclusiveness. It's an imperative for success.
And inclusiveness does not mean that you get to make the decision. I'm just including you in the process of me making a decision. That's a different.
Think about this, management. Management, think about it this way. If somebody bring me in when they don't have to, and it's getting my opinion, management. In fact, when you make decisions in life now, management, you should go to all your key sources to garner information to help you make a good decision, management. Right? Don't just think you're right and make a decision and not gathering data and perspective from different sources to help. I'm always the term, inform your view, give your perspective as to, you know what? I have all the facts at the table, help me make the best decision. The girls can't pick the coach. That's not their job.
Yeah.
The girls can provide a perspective, which management, whether you do so genuinely or not, should try to get, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. Because I've always said this, which is, it's not even part of their domain. They should be involved. But you know what? If they're part of the leadership team, and it's not a cricket team where the cricket captain is part of the selection process, right? Football is different. But bring them into the organization. Because that leadership team will change the management. It's going to rotate as all the players move out and new players come in. Make it a cohesive, collective body that's working towards a common goal.
Yeah.
And stop being dictatorial.
Yeah, I think any decision about who your coach is going to be, right, before it comes up, like your top players should know at least that information before it is in the public domain.
Of course, Mannings, man.
Yeah,
of course.
That's what I'm saying. And that don't mean that they get to choose. DW, we are not saying that the players pick the coach. That is it. All right. Let me break this. Let me I need to. All right.
And then we go primary school or not? No, not in primary school. Like the basic school where you just start out as a 5-year-old. Because if you're in the audience saying we're saying the player should pick the coach, you need to stop. And it's getting annoying, frankly. And I'm getting perturbed. You need to stop. We're talking about communicate. When I lead people. I have a team of about 46 people. I lead people. And I bring my leaders into the decision-making process. I garner their views, so they're part of it. So when decisions are made, they were part of the whole decision-making process. I make the final decision. They don't make the final decision.
Yeah.
That is very disturbing to hear the same thing come up again and again with people in the audience saying what we didn't say.
All right. Kyle, no, this is you gone to the next extreme. Kyle, your premise is wrong. All right. I can tell you this. Nobody at Manchester City went and met with the player and asked permission of the players to bring in Pep. No, the people at Arsenal, the Crankies, did not go in and met with the players to ask for permission to bring in Arteta. In fact, some of these, they could fire Ten Hag tomorrow and then them try work and finding out. They don't go to the players and say, should we? They fire him. So don't use even club situation, because there are more cases where the leadership of the clubs make those decisions without consulting the players. And do not tell me when people speak about Messi and Ronaldo, that's only generational talent. There'll never be a next Messi. And even if in the case of Messi, they ask him who should coach his team, that's only for Messi alone and Ronaldo. Of the thousands and thousands of professional footballers, ain't nobody going to Eddie Nketiah at Arsenal asking him about who coach supposed to be. Ain't nobody going to Bayern to Liverpool. And when they go to Liverpool, they are going to ask Curtis Jones if he thinks this person should coach Liverpool or not. Hey, Kyle, ain't nobody at Real Madrid went and asked, what's his name? The little short player from Spain that was there. Oh geez, that he wanted to come to Arsenal, play midfield, used to play forward. Nobody went to him. So Kyle, don't come to me with them. You can talk to, but do not come to me with them garbage there. Nothing like that.
So management, I would expect that English FA may call Harry Kane in advance. Say, Harry, we're thinking about this.
Yeah.
You have a person, Harry Kane, which will inform you that's what direction we're going in, right? I don't think they may not ask for his advice. He may not have any input. They may not even care about his input. But it may just be a courtesy thing, management. No one is saying the players pick the manager or the coach. That will never be the case, because then the JFF wouldn't be doing their job. There's roles and responsibilities. People know their role. But you can also bring people across the aisle and make them part of the process if you so choose. Depends on how you want to operate. But this whole concept where Kyle is going to the extreme about players and Messi and why are we using aberrations and things which are not normalized? And who knows if that's the case? People keep saying Messi picked this. We don't. They never come out and say that. We don't know if that's the case.
And that who Real Madrid decided that they would pick? Who at Real Madrid decided that they would pick Zidane for the coach? Who
But
at Real Madrid? Which player?
You run an organization. Is your staff going to tell you how things should be done?
All right. Let me answer this. So the girls should be told who is being considered before it comes out into the public. It doesn't mean that you're asking them.
Management, you could even say what's your perspective if you so choose, management. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean he's going to change your mind or do anything.
Yeah.
So you could ask, if that's what you want to operate?
Mr. Speed said, here are the three coaches. Unseen Sports, Man of Steel, and Cataract. Those are the three options that we have.
You could use better examples. Go ahead.
Right? So all they do is say, listen, here are the three coaches. We had many resumes, but these are one out of these threes will be the head coach of the national team going ahead. It's going to go to our committee. As soon as we have decided who it will be, we will let you know. That is the discussion.
Yeah, look, nobody's saying the girls. You've heard me come on and say this, that this is why I disagree with the girls. They have no right to think they have a say in the coach, who's the coach. But if you want to be inclusive, if you want to reset the relationship, you can provide a perspective to them, not asking for them to make a decision, but get their opinion. Doesn't mean you're going to follow their opinion. It may not be what the paper is printed on.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to reset relationship and start anew, you should rethink how you operate.
Yeah. So the people are saying no to Unseen. Are you saying that you'd rather give Cataract the job?
The job is not just for talking, because he doesn't know one strategy to employ in the field. He can't kick a ball.
So, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah. With his players and supporters. Hey, Kyle.
Don't respond to Kyle. Because Kyle just make you perturbed sometimes for no reason.
That's a fact. No Man U coach can't coach Liverpool and vice versa.
Kyle is going off, and I know what he's saying. What he's basically saying is that what happened with Benitez at Everton, for example, when he coached Liverpool, but it's not the direction we're going in, Kyle. You're conflating two things, right? There's a difference between whether or not some coaches be acceptable because of their history versus asking a player or informing a player what direction you're going in before you publicize it to the general audience. How would you feel as an employee for something happen to your company and the people on the street know it before you do? That doesn't make any sense when you're internal. That's not logical.
All right. You know what I realize sometimes on the platform, that there is this strong bias to a particular side of this conversation, right? So it's almost anyway take the conversation. There are some people who always have to find a way to defend their side of the argument. So persons who are quote unquote on the JFF side, like anything you say, like for example, James Smith always have these good comments. Same thing with A.M. Henry, but listen to this one. Madness. That you should tell the girls and they put it out there before the federation or the new coach tells their partners. I am saying to you that the federation is the one who should make the information public. However, if they should inform the girls and it is found out that the girls leak the information, then you have to sanction them.
So Manningsman, that's no different from any company, Manningsman. There is confidential information and it's labeled accordingly and it's communicated accordingly. And you write a protocol in terms of timing of dissemination of information and communication to the general public. And the leadership team would be informed of that. You don't have to tell every single girl either. You may tell the leadership team. But I do, and if it goes in the public, then people understand implications of that information leaking. And sometimes that happens in companies also. But you can't let the general public know something before your players have any information about it. That doesn't make sense. Right? Before a squad for a team is communicated public, the players are informed they're in the squad, aren't they? They're informed they're in the squad, discussions are held, and then it goes out to the public. So, Manningsman, I think some of these people should go to Cayman Spot much more frequently because they have blinkers on. They put blinkers on their horse, so the horse can only go in one direction. That's how it is. I'm not calling anybody horse, by the way. We have to qualify everything we say on this program because people take it literally. They have blinkers on. They're in their tunnel. They only think about their point. They can't see both sides. And that's what the JFF is experiencing now, and the girls. Same thing we're talking about, Manningsman. Both sides have blinkers on. I have my view. It's the right view. I'm not going to pivot. I'm not changing. I can't see anybody's view. That can't be the way to operate. They're both sides. They're different sides to the story. Listen, and listen well. Don't talk like how Cataract does and don't listen. Just listen, absorb the information, and then he'll help you make a better decision.
All right, we have Issa Alin. Issa Alin, welcome to the show. Good afternoon.
Hey, bless up, Manningsman, bless up, Cranky. I mean, Cranky literally, I don't know, Cranky literally just said what I was calling to say. Why are you like that, man? But I mean, in a lot of the big teams, you have special group of players. Man kind of rightly said earlier that some people go to one extreme and some people take to the other end. In some teams, you have I'm a Chelsea fan. I know that there is a special group of players during the 2000s. If there's going to be a manager that is hired, it's not like an official channel from the board of directors that they write a letter and say, oh, somebody from the board probably just said to them, hey, we're thinking about this and we're thinking about that. It's not anything official that the board is going to say to the players, oh, we're thinking about getting this manager or what. But they will inform probably, the core group of players, the leaders in that dressing room about they will be, trying to hire as a coach. Even firing coaches, that was done at Chelsea as well. You have a group of players they're thinking about letting go. As I said, it's not an official channel they go to write a letter to the players or say whatever man means. So it's not like it's something official. Somebody from the board who's probably closer to the players will say, okay,
Yeah, you're right. And listen, I laugh because I saw a comment, not because of what you were saying, right? So
no.
Duckland says that is what is mashing up Chelsea right now.
There's no core group of players at Chelsea. That's not a good Duckland because there's no core group of players.
That's it right now.
Then Stefan Wright says Cranky first called people elephant, then he calls the players camels. No, he's calling the viewers horses.
I know you did not get different.
They're all powerful animals, man. They're all great. They're all alpha animals we love, actually. And they behave better than human beings a lot of times.
Hey, listen, it's like I tell people, right? Frankie, if I'm leaving home, and like one of my brethren called me and said, listen, we're playing some dominoes. Can you come and play some dominoes or playing some football? They want to come and play some football. If I say to them, I am going to talk to my wife, you know the first thing they said to me? Boss, you're a big man, you have to go ask your wife to leave me. They always say that, you know. I don't say it's not I'm not seeking permission, but I'm including her in the decision that I'm going to make that I am going to play football. It's not like I'm asking her for permission, you know. You understand me? It's just to include
100%.
her to let her know that, you know, you're part of me and I'm part of you.
Mannings, I see that you have a lot of chauvinistic friends.
Eh?
You have a lot of chauvinistic friends.
I'm telling you, they're very, man, them all upset. The man say, brother, if you go talk, you go talk, nobody come nowhere, boss. Nobody come play the ball.
It's a man. It's an affront for them to associate with you.
In here, guys, I already said what I wanted to say. I'm running.
All right, big up, Mr. Allen. Yeah.
Man, it's an affront to your friends to have a dialogue with your wife about where you're going. It's an affront to your friends, man. It's amazing.
And that's what I'm saying. So I think it is the same thing. If the federation says, listen, here is who we are considering, it is not saying that they're asking your permission to make the decision. They are going to make the decision, but they want to, but I think Fresh God was asking if this should apply, if the boy should be allowed the same privilege, like the same.
Damian Lowe, Andre Blake, Adrian Mariappa, they're players who've been in the team forever, Mannings, man. Don't they deserve that respect? Yeah? Don't they deserve that respect? I mean, they've been in the team forever. They're part of it. It's like John Terry or drugged by Chelsea, for example. I'm sure when they're making those decisions, Abramovich may call him and say hello, because he always makes decisions, not even his technical director. So, Mannings, I would think that that's the good thing to do, frankly. Bring the players and put the players on your side. If you're trying to win players' minds and heart, find ways to do so. Yeah. That may not be the best way in some people's eyes, but find some ways to do so.
Man said that sounds like panty government. That's
why I don't get. That's you know what? I'll get like when I say that's why I don't get burned so much.
No, that is why I'm not married.
No. That's why in Jamaica the men them also they beat their chest and then they don't take care of what's happening at home and they realize somebody's at home with somebody's taking care at home. So you get to keep thinking that way.
Yeah, man. Do you think there are ringleaders on the girls' team? I can take a stab at this question. Let me tell you something. I've found that when you're in an organization and you have people who like to lead, it is not good unless they are creating problems to go in there and try to fight them. But as the leader, to find a way to involve them, because if you can get them on your side, then a lot of your work is done.
Yeah. So why do you have captain if you don't want leaders? What is the role of captain? There's a reason why somebody's a captain, you know. Or some people by default, based on their personalities, based on their accomplishments. Some people lead by example. Some are much more vocal leaders. Some just have leadership DNA. You gotta have leaders.
Yeah.
You're not on the pitch with the players, for example. So who's gonna lead them when they're out on the field? When they're not in the room, you can talk to them. You gotta have leaders, both in the dressing room, without the authority, and also on the field. So you do need leaders.
Yeah. Listen, let me say that A.M. Henry people is a female, and she's one of the females who's always, and she has very good views. She has worked in large organizations, right? While on this particular matter, I do not believe that she's understanding what Cranky and I are saying. Don't try to take her on. You'll come out on the losing end. She's well informed, all right? So leave her alone.
No, I understand what Amy is saying, which is the authority makes the decision. But in today's environment, and the world is changing, before you wouldn't even consider that if you're coming through the ranks way back when. But I think more and more players have gotten more power in the game. Players have got more autonomy. Players have got more say. That's a fact. in any sport you can think about, especially sometimes that power comes along with compensation, that power comes along with influence. And you look at some of the bigger teams and the more better compensated players, and you see that they have more input than you may imagine, or you think.
Yeah, because that is the thing. Like this idea that leadership is being the boss and it is my way or no other way. It's not how modern contemporary leadership, works. Because it's like there has to be teamwork, even from the leader. And so we must be careful that the picture that we paint, and I will tell you this, if people buy into the vision, I think it is John Maxwell in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. He speaks about people buying into the vision. Cranky, if you alone have the vision for your organization, your staff not going to be motivated. Why do you think you have briefings in the mornings? You have local team talks and stuff, because you want them to feel a part of the company. You know that you can ask them, listen, what are some of the things we need to fix in the organization? You already have in your mind, that you're not going to raise the salary than more than 2.5%. And they come in and some say 10% increase, some say 50%, but you already checked your budget, but you want them to believe, right, that they had something to do with it, and you come to a compromise, but you had long set out based on your budget what you could reasonably afford. So I don't think the thing is so far off that we're struggling to see how it can work. And while RDN is saying that Henry is always on the JFF side, RDN, the truth could be said about that every discussion you come into, you're always on the player side. Because
we know which side Kyle is on. We know which side Kyle is on. No, I think Amen is on the side of authority, and we don't disagree with that in some respects. But I do think the world is changing, and there's more latitude be given to subordinates than they have in the past, frankly.
Yeah. So Drew said the leader ear must ring. Yeah. So Kyle. All right. Like what I want you to post, Kyle, is what is the challenge you're having with what Cranky and I, because first, we said Cranky started out by this. How you reset the relationship, the adult in the room, and he said that is the JFF needs to engage. That's the first thing he said. I went and I said that they need to start doing some little things right, which creates the environment for the negotiation. Which is like per diem, somebody said it, should not be retroactive, but should be done. And you had no objections to that. Now, when we get to the part where the girl needs to take a step, you're opposing what we're saying. This is what I'm saying. We started out challenging the administration to make certain steps. All right, we outlined around 3 to 4 between Cranky and myself. Then we are now saying, okay, this is one of the things that the girls could do. And now it sounds like you're saying that no.
Mannings, I think Kyle's dislike is so much for the JFF. He cannot see the forest from the trees when it comes to resetting the relationship. I'm just projecting what I hear from you, which is the JFF is not the body who should be in the situation. They're a problem, and the girl's always going to be right? You're not giving allowance for the JFF has a role to play. They're the administration. They're the body in charge, and therefore they should be respected. Give them the role they play. They're the representative for the football in the country, football program, like it or not. And you can't be biased to one side. Open your mind, Kyle. Open your mind. Let somebody give up a span of pride to open. Open your mind. Open your mind so you can be much more honest in your views.
Kyle says opposing. What did I say? So he's saying that he's not opposing anything. I thought Kyle was suggesting when we were talking about not when we were talking about
Kyle, is the trend of how you communicate. Is the trend of your comments, Kyle, which we're collating those comments and say, and this has been not one show, Kyle. It's in every show, every program you're on. It's the same theme. Which is JFF is wrong, the girl are right.
All right. Kyle, call and explain yourself, Kyle. Maybe you need to call Kyle.
Kyle and explain yourself.
Yeah, because I thought you were saying that, as in the case of Barcelona and Real Madrid, where the players are involved in the selection of the coach, right? You believe that the players should be involved. Is that what you were saying, Kyle? So you're disagreeing with me and Cranky on that matter? Or did I misunderstand you? All right. This one says the Reggae Girls it's an outsourced team. It's Marley U. They have really picked the past recent coaches. All right.
Now look, man, here's what I'm hearing when I look at the comment section. People are on both sides. Some are saying the girls shouldn't have no input in the coaches, and some are saying the girls should have some input. That's what Todd is saying. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong per se. Depends how the administration want to operate. If they're saying we pick the coach, you have no say. There's no comment. You have to be informed prior to the coach being picked. That's fine. That's how they want to operate. The girls may think, you know what? Why would the general public know about our coach before we do? That's not appropriate. That's not communication. That's lack of transparency. If you want things to work really well, and some of you don't run organizations, so if you have, it's like a lot of people don't play football, never been on the football field. You don't have to be an expert in the game, trying to tell you how to kick a ball.
You know
They've
what
never kicked a ball ever in their life. It's tough.
Yeah. You know what I want to ask, Kyle Cranky? When Coach Whitmore was about to be relieved of his duty, I think for Paul to take it on, the players were not for that. My question to Kyle is, should the players have had an input? Because if they did, they would have selected Coach Theodore Whitmore. When Paul was the intern, the players didn't have a problem with him staying on, though they wanted Whitmore. They didn't want Coach Halgrimson, right? Because they didn't know him. Should they have had an input and selected Coach Paul over Halgrimson? And Kyle has decided to join. So he's going to explain.
Man, here's one thing before Kyle joins. Do you believe, and I'll ask of Kyle also, that if Donaldson was retained as a coach, the player would have boycotted the window, even with the money problems?
All right, good question. Kyle.
You're asking me or Cranky? I mean, so
no, it's Cranky.
I'm asking you, Kyle.
All right. First thing is first. All right. You guys are ganging up on me. I mean, I said Kyle said this, Kyle said that. Listen to this comment. Kyle is a real lunatic. Listen to this guy in the comment. My God.
Kyle is saying not us. Kyle is saying not us.
All right. Answer the question now. Go on. First question, because boy, the money map so much. Go on now. Number one question is what now?
The question is, if Donaldson was not fired by the JFF, would the girls have boycotted this window?
I do not believe so.
Okay.
I do not believe so.
So their loyalties to the coach, regardless of the monetary situation.
I mean, listen. No. I'm going to break down what I see and where I stand. I have declared in the past, I am open to my bias. I am with the girls. All right, but let me just try and summarize what I've seen in the past, because I watch everybody program. I was watching a program the other day when Vin Blaine was on it. I can't remember who, but Vin Blaine made some pointed points. Vin Blaine said, and I just summarize what he said. He said when he was removed, he spoke with someone in the JFF. I don't know if it was the president or somebody high in a position of power. And they said to him, what you have done is given the girls a franchise. And the girls were being influenced by an influencer. Now, I don't know who that influencer is. I can only speculate. But I believe that influencer who he spoke about was Sidella Marley. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Now, to put it in context, right? If the influencer is basically bringing this program out of nothing to success, and it's bringing in money into your corporation or your entity, you as a federation or an organization must know what you're willing to give up in terms of letting that thing flourish to be successful. So the JFF knew exactly what they were getting themselves into, right? You're going to give that person that kind of latitude to build that product. Don't expect that you're going to just get it back. Okay, and if you do get it back, expect consequences and ramifications to come with it. So that is to say, this is where we are right now. Okay, so them hire Donaldson. Donaldson didn't hire himself. He got hired with everybody blessing, including the JFF, the girls and the Marlies, and then you let go the man. So now you have to deal with the consequences. Now, all of this cast back and forth money issue, fine. Everything is on the table now. Everybody fed up. I mean, it reached a breaking point. The JFF says that they want to take back the program. Fine, take it back. But, you should understand that if you're going to make a move like that, deal with the consequences. The last time we spoke, Cranky, I said this is going to be a PR disaster. And you laugh at me.
Kyle,
What do we have right now?
Can I have a question for you, Kyle?
What?
Let me go to your profession.
To the chat as well.
Here's a question, Kyle. Kyle,
Yeah, man.
Kyle, you're in the emergency. You're in the operating room. You all right, Kyle?
Yes.
There's a patient on the table.
Right.
They need you.
Mm.
And you say, you know what? Administration, if you don't pay me or do what I want, I'm leaving. And the patient may die. What would you do?
I'm taking care of my patient.
No, Kyle. I'm just saying you're putting.
Go on. Come again.
You're saying if I don't get what I want, I'm gonna leave. What would you do if you're the administration? And you know you have to save the patient because it's imperative to save the patient. What would you do?
If I am the administrator.
Yeah.
It's totally different. If you are telling me that you're going to leave a patient on the operating room,
I'm giving an extreme example, Kyle. An extreme example.
I know. That's a very extreme example, though, Cranky.
Yes.
Why?
No, because you say, you know what? Wait. You say I want $200,000 instead of $100,000, and if I don't get it, I'm walking out this room, and that patient may die. What would you do? You're the administration.
I have to get somebody else.
No, you don't. You can't get anybody else. There's no alternative.
I mean, listen.
So what would you do, Kyle? There's no alternative, Kyle. Or the alternative is not good enough. Can't save the patient. What do you do?
I will basically tell the person the consequences of his action. And
they know the consequences. No, Kyle, you can't tell them they know what the consequences are.
Frankly, let me answer the question. Let me answer the question. Okay, I will explain to the person the consequences of his actions, not only to himself, but the patient.
Right.
And let him know that if we take such a step, then action will be taken on my end to protect the institution and the patient.
Right. Good, Kyle. Good. I'm glad you're saying that. So, Kyle, so you wouldn't give the 100,000, Kyle?
No.
Okay, good. So the girls were in the middle of the World Cup qualifiers. They say, if I don't get Donaldson, basically, in my words, we're not playing. The JFF is caught between a rock and a hard place. They don't play. We don't qualify the World Cup. It's a big deal. We acquiesce and give them Donaldson. We save the patient. That's what happened, Carl, which is the side you have been on about acquiescing the girls. So when you say they acquiesce, they had to acquiesce because they were caught up between a rock and a hard place. They had no choice. As the girl may have walked or decided not to play, Donaldson doesn't come in, everybody loses. So they acquiesce. That's why they say we're not acquiescing again. So you just said, you probably let the patient die, frankly. They didn't let the patient die. They didn't let the program die. They didn't let the qualification go to waste. They acquiesced. That's what transpired.
But Cranky, you're missing a lot of context there, man.
There's no context.
Not me.
James Smith says they change your mind after the patient is saved. He says viewers is not legal.
But the JFF was put under duress, management. The JFF was put under duress.
Cranky, no.
Kyle, let me hear from Coach Minzy. Let me hear.
But let me just rebut Cranky real quick. Cranky, you're leaving out the context that the person who was financing that part of that program was the influencer who was working with the girls. So there was context there.
No, Kyle, you're missing the big picture, Kyle.
No, Cranky, you cannot bring that to me without leaving out that part of the conversation. You have to factor in that. It is not just the girls said. No, the girls, that part of the program was being financed by the Marley. And therefore, you have a certain kind of power behind that kind of, the whole scenario as to what transpired. It didn't just happen in a vacuum. Come on. Go on, man. Yeah,
go ahead, Vince, because Kyle's still not getting it. Go ahead.
Yeah, big up everybody. Big up Mannings. Big up Big up Kyle with the crocodile.
The crocodile mash up the stadium though. You hear about it? The man label me as a, I'm not going.
Anyways, Kyle, everybody know where you vote there already, so.
You know, man, yo, stop spreading propaganda upon me, no boss.
I know propaganda, man. Anyways, I believe though that when it comes on to club football, some people mention club football. Do we really think that the players are influential in bringing in managers? Don't they have a director of football that actually select managers? If anybody is involved, I think it would have possibly been the captain. You understand? Rather than a group of players have a part, to make in the decision. If the coach come in and the players aren't satisfied, then they will do what they need to do to get rid of that coach, which oftentimes happen. They stop playing for the coach. So I would think that more so the captain would have been more in the know than basically the entire team. And it is a situation like this. If the director walk around to Cranky who play left back, because them all left him off our team, and them say, yo, we are bringing Mannings as a coach, And I say, yo, I don't like that coach. He's this and he's that. But yet still next week down the line, the same coach come in. Cranky, I gonna really feel like a left back. You understand? So me not really think players really have that great of an influence on who they come in as the coach. But if they don't like the coach, they don't like the methodology of the coach, then they will stop playing for the coach, and then they'll get new coach. You understand? That is my take on the whole situation.
And coach, it also depends on where the player sits in the organization, of course, because as you know, when a new coach come in, they reset the table. They're going to select players based on what they're seeing on the field and what they're seeing in training. And players who have influence with the old coach will have influence probably with the same influence with the new coach. So players also think about that as they go through their careers and as they go through playing for a team. So I don't think a player should be able to tell who the coach should be or make that decision. But I do think if you want to be transparent as management and there's a leadership team within the girls, for example, that you may want to apprise them before you go to market with who the coach is. Or maybe even before you make that final decision, you may want to do that. That's up to the administration about how they want to operate. But at a minimum, the parties should know what the operating model is, how the organization works. If it's the administration make decision and the players just follow it, and everyone is clear on that, if you're a player, you will be part of that program, that's your choice to make, right? So long as you know you have transparency, then you know what you're working with, then you can't come subsequently saying you disagree or XYZ because you know how the process works.
Right. Because
everyone knows their role and responsibility. Sorry, coach, go ahead.
Right. So let us use the contract, Cranky, because we use in the contract of late. If it is not a part of the contract that we have the girls have a say in selection of the coach, then it doesn't matter who the JFF brings in. It shouldn't be an issue. Like I said, the only issue that if the girls having a problem with the methodology of that coach and how the coach operate, and there might be other extenuating circumstances, then they have a right to protest for that coach or against that coach.
Yeah, look, there are some decisions you make which you may want players' input, there are some decisions you make which you may not want players' input, right? If there's clarity around how that process works, everyone's on the same page about how it works, everyone understands what role they play, then we shouldn't have ambiguity, and we shouldn't have what we're seeing now, which is just total disconnect between the parties involved, right? The player should not, the last time the administration made decision based on what the players wanted, because the players forced the administration hand and select a very convenient time to do so. That cannot be right. And Kyle decided to dispute or push away my example because I gave him an extreme one for deliberately. But that can't be the way you operate. You can't hold me over the barrel, over the fire, trying to have you make a decision. We know I'm going to get burned if you drop me. That's not the way to operate. And the administration has learned its lesson. But you can't be like Speed is on the extreme end, which is like, you know what? Going forward, you have no say in anything at any time. We're going to be dictatorial. You also got to think about, you know what? How do I bring them along?
But, Cranky, I'm not on the side that says that the players must select coaches. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that situations occur where it does happen. It's not best practices, but it does happen. All you have to do is look in Spain. That's how Barcelona and Real Madrid basically run their clubs. It's reached to such a point where even fans get involved as to which coach should come and coach Real Madrid or Barcelona. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
But is that a fact? Is that a fact, Kyle?
I mean, everybody knows that. Bro,
but you still have to answer the question. Is that a fact, Kyle?
Is that a fact?
Listen, I'm not there in person. I'm not in the boardroom. But I've seen. Hold on, coach. Let me answer.
What kind of example DW look for Mannings? But me not agree with Kyle at all.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out. He was asking you to give an example. I'm not sure what he wanted you to give an example of.
Yeah.
So maybe you can you can type that in so coach can answer. But go ahead, Kyle, because Kyle, here's the thing. The premise of your conversation is always going to be bad because you come out and say you have a bias toward the girl. So my question to you is that what are some of the steps? We have outlined some of the steps the JFF needs to take. What are the steps you recommend that the girls take in fixing this issue? Is there anything that they need to do?
Of course.
What?
Turn up to the boardroom, be open-minded, to a way forward. I mean, it's
so Kyle is also talking to himself. Keep talking, Kyle.
What do you mean?
Turn up to the forum in the comment section. Be open-minded when you're providing a perspective as to how this should work. So keep going, Kyle. Keep going. Count to yourself also.
I mean, when you present a conflict and you want to get it resolved, you sit down as two adults in good faith to find a solution. The girls should at least come to the JFF with that. You know what I mean? I mean, what else can they do?
Kyle, you see, this is where now, and Coach Means, let me just say this here. He said example of players picking coaches. He says name one team. I think that's what I think he's asking you about.
I never said that. I never said that player. I said that happened. I said directors are the ones that recruit coach, and they'll probably make the captain know what it is. So I've never said that a coach can.
Yeah. All right. So you never said that. All right. Let me. Soldier, hold on a sec, Soldier. Let me say
Kyle,
this. Let me say this.
He's asking me.
He's asking you, Kyle. Let me say this to you, Kyle. Do you believe that if Pep leaves City and the board of Manchester says we're bringing in Pep, Bruno Fernandes, who is a captain, could say, I don't want Pep.
I mean, Man U, not City.
Man U, right? So Pep is leaving City next season to come and coach Man U. You think they would allow Bruno Fernandes to tell them that I do not want Pep over here? Give me Brendan Rodgers, and they pick Brendan Rodgers? Yes or no?
No, man.
Why?
Because Brendan Rodgers is a fraud, number one. Right. Number two.
Wait a minute.
Hold on, man. Let me answer the question. And number two, Manchester United need major surgery, so they would accept Pep. You know, Fernandez is nobody. And listen, let's please, let me answer you. Let's not please, man.
Your answer, no, you're going to explain your answer.
No, I haven't finished my answer. The last thing I'm going to say is let's not conflate every club as being the same. Like I've said, it is not the norm. It is the exception. Okay? I am for best practices that coaches.
Real Madrid and Barcelona, you cannot cite your conversation or your claim that it happens in Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Wait. Guys, can I say this? Kyle.
Hold on. Okay, go on. Speak.
Kyle.
I'm sorry. Go on.
Can I say this? In Spain and in France,
go on.
Did the players want to fire their coaches in those two countries? The female players?
France, I'm sure.
No, France and Spain. And did they acquiesce in those cases? Did the administration acquiesce?
No,
they fired some of the players. Not fired the players, but the players decided not to join up, and they said, "Fine, you go get new players."
Right.
Players don't pick coaches.
Listen, boss, I am for best practices. I've said that. but hold on, let me deal with the Real Madrid case because they want proof. Okay, Rafa Benitez went to Real Madrid, had them leading the tables. Okay, both in the Champions League and the Premier and the
La Liga.
La Liga. Okay, man, them run him out of Real Madrid.
Hold
on, let me finish. You ask me the question. Okay,
you said the man, but you have to
I am Mannings. Come on, bro. The players revolted against Rafa Benitez and got him out of Real Madrid, and they brought in Zidane. That is who they wanted. Okay, not only did the players want him out, the fans wanted him out. Okay, that's a fact. Now people need to Google that up and find out what the hell happened at Real Madrid. It does happen.
Bossman, you're looking at an anomaly, right?
Okay, there you go. Say it again. It's an anomaly.
You notice what you said first?
What? Go on.
Wanted Rafa Benitez out. We alluded to the fact that if they bring in a coach and the players are not satisfied with the methodology, they can do that. They can revolt. They can stop playing for the coach and they'll get a replacement.
That's what I said.
But that is not selecting, Kyle. Is that selecting a coach, Kyle? Like Duclan is asking. Duclan is saying, Kyle, that is not selecting a coach.
Not selecting a coach.
What is that then?
He's saying Zinedine coming in. They want a Zinedine.
Of course.
The directors would have wanted him. He was a part of Real Madrid for years.
Man,
All right, Kyle, we have a call online. Let Minzy finish. Go ahead, Minzy, and then.
I'm saying that Zinedine Zidane has been a part of Real Madrid.
Right.
That was an easy pick for him to be. The man is a club legend.
Kudos.
There's no two ways about that.
And the JFF can learn something from that.
Learn what?
We don't have any Zidane right now.
It does happen.
And we don't have any mixes around.
What do you mean? Donaldson took them to the last World Cup with Menzies. So why wouldn't the girls want to work with somebody who took them to the place the last time? It's the same parallel analogy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It cannot be the same and Donaldson get fired.
Hey, I love what Hala Madrid is saying, coach. Stop playing for a coach is different from selecting a coach.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. And by the way, guys, fans and media fire coaches just as much as administrations do. For some teams, especially in England. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead, Soldier.
Yeah, man. Bless up to everyone, all I'm on them punish show. Kyle, what you were saying, Kyle, any organization is running, and if players think they have the power to pick a coach, that organization not going to survive, because as management touch Manchester United, no player know who they're going to bring in at Manchester United at no time at all as the coach. They name who's the coach. If you don't want to play, you go to hell. So that's how Manchester United runs. So if and you don't want to play with him, you just leave. You know,
and I heard someone in the chat mention this, which is right. Sometimes Mannings, man.
Hold on, Cranky. Go ahead, Soldier.
If you have players, when you're going to come and then you're going to say to players, say, oh, you have right to pick and to say, no, the organization going to break down. You cannot give players that power. Chelsea come and bring in a coach. As where coach means to say, you can sabotage the coach and then fire him. That's the only thing you can do. Is sabotage him, but you can't. All right, you think Hurricane can come up? England, Gareth Southgate leave and they take a man from Italy. You think Hurricane can come up and say, oh, I don't want that man. Hurricane would have to go to Ireland and see players stay in Germany and don't come back to England to play no ball. You cannot give players that power to dictate peace to you as an organization, not Cranky. Kyle, you cannot do that.
Did I say that you can do that? I mean, come on. I'm saying that it happens. That's what I'm saying. It happens.
Where?
Jamaica.
Where at that? Oh, Jamaica, yeah. Okay, that's true. That's true.
It has happened.
Yeah, that's true because there's no way at all they can give the player them to dictate. Say, I don't want to play with that coach. If that coach not playing, I'm not playing. No, that can, I never see. I don't know. I never see that happen nowhere in our world away from Jamaica.
It happened at Real Madrid with Rafa Benitez. It happens in Spain.
Yeah, but
so Kyle, so Soldier,
remember.
Hold on, Soldier. All right, go ahead.
Right.
I say one second. What Kyle is leaving out? What Kyle is leaving out? Here's what Kyle is leaving out, and Kyle know this.
Let me hear it.
It's rare if a coach is a winning record, that coach may get fired. For some teams with a history of success, like Real Madrid, and we saw that at what I mentioned, Tottenham, which is this. I bring a coach in, their style of play is hard to watch, it's not entertaining, it's not how you play. In those instances, the coach made fans and the media, and maybe the players may push the coach out. Tottenham with Conte, people are saying with Conte, which is this. Spurs have won a trophy since what, 2011, 2010. We put up with him for 1 year, but after that, he has to go because we can't watch this, even though he has a history of success. So what Kyle is missing out with Rafa Benitez is Rafa doesn't play attractive football, and players and coaches, and especially media, don't like that. So you will get pushed out, even though you may have a good record. So it's not a good example, Kyle. I would admit.
I mean, Cranky, that's not that's hold on, wait.
Kyle, just hold on one sec. Kyle, hold on one sec. Soldier.
Go on.
Soldier.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the next call. The person I've been trying to call, right? And then you can call back, please. All right?
Yeah, man, all right.
Yeah. All right. So let me just take this one call. Welcome to the show, Ketarak and Issa Allen. But let me just take this one call. Caller, just go ahead with your point. And welcome.
Yeah, morning, so man.
Yeah, man. Oh, this sound like Miguel.
Yes, I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
but yeah, I enjoy the program still. But you put up, I just want to point out to the viewers because that some aspect of the program they must just take for dramatization purposes only, and not necessarily fact. Because as it relates to this discussion about players speaking, I think it's just for dramatization of the program.
You're accusing Kyle of bringing drama?
We have the facts. Just like documentary, have a little fact, with a little dramatization just to keep it interesting. So I think this part of discussion is just that, because there's no way you can encourage or insinuate that there are aspects where players gonna pick coaches and that type of thing. So I might think that, brother. Respect.
All right. Well, we're going to have to give Kyle an opportunity to respond.
Wait, man. So Kai sent around a program, an article from The Guardian to justify his perspective on the firing of Benitez by Real Madrid when Zinedine Zidane was brought in. What Kyle didn't articulate and provide on was, part of the article says, Perez, who runs Real Madrid, had been unconvinced by Benitez for some time, was also unsure about how to handle the first team job, handing the job to Zinedine Zidane, right? The administration was unconvinced. The players were unconvinced.
Thank you.
It could only have one outcome. But Kyle, it says that what it did say is, like you say, the JFF was unconvinced.
You guys are
also
not fair. You could, no. Seriously, Cranky, you are not being fair with me. I Manning.
Hold on.
Manning, I'm being attacked and I'm not being allowed to respond. Cranky has attacked me. The gentleman before came on the program and said
I
something.
am not allowing you to respond, Kyle.
No, and now coach is going to jump in and say something. I will let them speak and then I will speak, Manning, when you tell me to speak. Go on.
There's another article that did not say the players wanted Zinedine Zidane. It was a decision that they made because the man is a legend of the club. Remember when Zidane came in, he had no coaching or managerial
You're
business.
all making my point.
At the ego of the players, them say, oh, Zidane gonna manage it. Why them give him a job? Because Zidane was a World Cup player and them something there. So it's not the players them select him.
All right, Kyle. Your time now.
Thank you, Mannings, man. No, I will answer. I don't even know where to start with Cranky because Cranky beat me up about 3 times already, and then coach jump in. But let me try. Okay, first of all, the comparison that you made, Cranky, about basically the management or the organization of Real Madrid, basically firing Rafa and bringing in Zidane because he was more qualified or whatever, or players coach. It's the same parallel with the girls. Okay, Donaldson took them to our previous World Cup. Okay, the organization knew him. Okay, some of them felt comfortable with him to basically approach him, and they brought him in. The girls did not like the previous coach's tactics. In fact, they had no confidence in it. They wrote as such, and the organization made a move to bring in Donaldson. Okay, it does happen. Am I for it? No, I'm not. I am for best practices where a well-run organization brings in a coach that's a good fit for everybody, for the organization, for the players, and for the fans. That's what I am for. Best practices. All right? So stop saying that I am for players hiring coaches. I'm not for that. All I'm saying is it does happen. Here you go.
Okay, we should move on. We've exhausted that. We've exhausted that.
Yeah. Right. So you have Cataract, welcome to the show. And Issa Allen has something to say. So Cataract, I know you're a little bit long-winded. So I let Issa Allen go so you can have a little bit
What
more
time is it? What time is it? 5. I may have to leave soon because this is gonna be long. But anyway, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's 7:45. All right.
We're not hearing you, Issa Allen. You're speaking?
You hearing me now? You hearing me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're hearing you. We're hearing you.
Oh, you're hearing him?
Yes.
Oh.
You know your names.
Oh, hearing you now.
Okay. I'm saying that we have this rhetoric to say that the girls picked the previous coach, which was Lord Donaldson, right? But I've heard the head of the technical committee come and speak about the process of hiring Lord Donaldson. In that process, he said that there were some other coaches which the committee thought were ahead of Mr. Donaldson, and they recommended to the board in whatever particular order that these are the coaches that we would suggest you can hire, and they're in the order 1, 2, 3. So that went to the board, and in my mind, the board made a decision on which coach that should coach the team. And I've heard the technical committee head speak about this process multiple times. I said that's how it goes. So I cannot understand the rhetoric that the girls pick the coach when you have people in the position who interview these coaches. The coaches applied for the job and it went to the board and the board made a decision. Now, if the board knew that, the girls favor a certain coach, that is on them. But at the end of the day, it is said that the board chose the coach.
And Issa, London also wasn't that number one, you know. So,
I know that. The technical committee
So Issa,
head said he
unlike
was at
Kyle,
number 3.
Issa, unlike Kyle, we have inside information from the technical director, who is basically saying going forward, they will not pick the coach again, which suggests they picked the previous coach. Not disputable. He said it on program that I was on to say that will not happen again.
And
So what
that's
he's telling you is that, you're right, they had a process. The process was supposed to be objective, but it was not, because they were between a rock and a hard place in making a decision.
and that's why you was picked from the below the persons who were ahead of him.
Yeah, he was in third. I heard Mr. Speed say a couple times. So you're saying that the technical committee head has come out and blatantly said the process that is supposed to be done to select the coach, that was what? It did not exist at that time, or what?
Remember, it went as far as what DW is saying, that Mike Ricketts made a decision that Sidela wanted. But that's what he's saying. But what Mike Ricketts, what London also said is that the board didn't even select him. It was the president, and he doesn't have a problem with the president, because it was the one person voted for him, and he said Wilkes was the one person, and it was the president who decided against the directive of the board to hire him.
So the president basically vetoed everybody and made his
right. And so some people believe that like James Smith, without proof though, that the board hired like the president hired Donaldson under. He says under.
No, that is not right. The president hired Donaldson. The board was there was no duress. They weren't given an option to hire him. The president hired Donaldson.
Yeah, the president hired him.
They had a process. They had a process, but he circumvented the process.
So the process was just all for sure. It didn't matter what the process was.
In fact,
there was only going to be one coach, and that was Donaldson. That's what.
And guys, can I just say this, guys? That happens in companies. I hate to tell you. Even though you may think that it doesn't happen sometimes into the process. So you may have a process, it's written, it's documented about policy and procedures. And if a president is influential enough, they may circumvent it. Now they may have to answer to the board. This is a little bit different. This is a little bit unique, where the board made a decision and the president circumvent. That's not how it normally works. It's the other way around, actually. But in some instances, the president may do something outside of this structured process, and then may have to rectify it down the end. And they will probably be okay if it works out well. If it doesn't, they may get fired.
Yeah.
The thing going on is that I've always held that he was chosen by the process. But now, I mean, if the process, if he wasn't hired that way, then it's really bad. I mean, it's really bad if he wasn't hired.
It's a really bad long time. It's Allen.
No,
It's right now.
Yeah, we were trying to extend the conversation to delay Ketara coming in, but we have no choice now because he's forcing his way in.
Hey guys, I'm at work, so I have to run, so I keep listening. All right,
it's Allen. All right, Ketara, go ahead. Your time, so take the show.
No, I'm just wondering if Cronky's just going to keep speaking, because I even heard a question posed to Kyle Wallace, and Cronky jump in and answer it when a caller came in. I will patiently wait my time.
Is your time now, man?
It's been 1 hour and 53 minutes, and you have spoken for about 3 minutes, and Cronky 1 hour and 50.
He's actually the host. I'm the producer.
The host and the producer. Well, the host is speaking more than the guest. But there you go. Production.
He said producer. He didn't say guest. But you're taking up your time, and you're taking up your time. Because my show today, you're taking up your time. Now, warn you.
But I don't know what the point of your show is. That's the first thing.
So why are you on Ketara?
Hold on, because I came to clarify and to hijack. So here's the thing, Marins. We've gone with the history lesson. We've gone with the forward lesson. The JFF is dysfunctional. We are told that we're supposed to get an announcement of a new coach tomorrow, November the 1st. And in very short order, so that coach would be available to have at least some time to get a squad together.
Did they say November the 1st or they say November, Ketara?
Okay, don't know.
I'm asking you,
Oh,
did you hear?
I heard November the 1st. That's what I heard. I could be wrong, but that's
So
what I heard.
November the 3rd. So then November the 30th when we have a game
No,
on the
Ketara.
spur or whatever. No, I mean, the
Ketara, I
exact
just ask you a
date in
simple question.
November
No,
is not
Ketara.
important.
Oh, no, it is Ketara because you said you were told. You said we were told
Yes, we
that
were told.
we would get a new coach November the 1st. I'm
No,
asking
we
you.
get the announcement. We'd get an announcement. We'd hear an announcement of the new coach.
Okay.
November 1st.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So Isalin said that it was said a nationwide. That's it. So on the 1st they will make an announcement.
Right. So so firstly, I do think again, because when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I do think I have an apology for Manningsman because I said you're a comment that was said by Mr. Speed was not on your program. It was actually on coach's desk. I went back and looked, and I did say that it was here. So I'm going to be careful now where I say things. I'm just going to say I heard on social media, right?
You should do that more often. You should go back more often, but keep going.
You should, but we'll get there. I look forward to Unseen because I am low in coaching, so I would like to get an E license that is available in Jamaica. So if Unseen can just let me know about the E as an elephant license, I would love an E license, right? Because that was new to me. But seriously, there's a decision has to be made. They will in that negotiation with whomever the candidate is or candidates, they would have something to say about the pool of players available to them, because there must be some things in their contract about qualifications for the major tournaments, etc. Right? And if you're going to put something, a performance clause in my contract, and then say to me, I have to pick from a college semi-pro girls, I might not want to take that. So I think part of that has to be sorted out prior to the coach signing up, because they must have some idea about what is the pool of talent that's going to be available to them. The second thing is that I honestly believe with all my heart that unless someone who specializes in gender enters upon this reference, we are going to not have a sustainable solution, because there are certain intricacies, certain sensitivities that I believe have to be acknowledged and worked with to come to an amicable agreement.
Right.
The JFF speaks to a grievance procedure. I heard Mr. Chung, I heard on live TV, I heard Mr. Speed. Grievance and conciliation are two different processes. So if you're coming to the table like which was almost what's called like an out of court settlement, so let us have a conciliatory dialogue that has to be facilitated by someone. So the two of them alone can't enter the room, right? And finding the right facilitator is key and critical if you really want to talk about bringing some sort of sustainable end to this impasse.
All right, I'll let probably Cranky and Minzy pick up on this. What I want you to do for
So I
me,
pause here, and I have two other ones.
because what I have to ask, I don't know if maybe if they understand about, or maybe you need to explain about this gender issue that you keep on raising, and now you're trying to infuse some
I'm not trying to infuse it. I'm saying it, and I will keep saying it, because persons, if they don't understand.
What was I going to ask you?
No. I said I'm infusing it. I'm not infusing it. I'm saying it.
Right. But I didn't get to the question part yet. But
sorry.
you answering the question I'm asking?
No, I'm not answering. I was just clarifying that I wasn't infusing.
It's minus 2 points. School chance.
I wasn't infusing. It was a point of correction.
All I'm saying is that
So,
the coach
Mannings, you're running a nice program. It flowed. Everybody had their say. It was organized. It was going in a certain direction. And then we have the disruptor who joined and does disrupt like he does well. Now, I hear him talk about this
I
gender thing.
waited
Wait, wait.
13
Can I
minutes
speak?
to speak. So
Can
don't
I
call me
speak, please?
disruptor. I waited 13 minutes quietly with my mic off. No, I'm not going to allow people to besmirch my character. I waited until my turn.
No. We have evidence. Go back and look at all the other programs you've been on. We have
So
evidence.
look at this one.
Yeah. But anyway, so my history. I hear Katarak mention this gender thing. I don't know about the gender situation because the biggest issue they had from a conversational standpoint was a person of the same gender on the bus. That was one of the biggest things. If you just pick out one small thing that transpired, but probably got Donaldson fired or instigated Donaldson firing, exacerbated by the public comments he made, that's probably a key item, right? So I don't know about the gender thing. I think reasonable people in any environment, male or female, can work together to get a outcome, desirable outcome for all parties involved. Yes, the genders sometimes operate differently, but I don't think it's a gender-centric situation. I think it's more of people just are stubborn and don't know how to work in a conciliatory manner and and there's no I in team, work as a team to attain a common objective or a desired objective. And until we can put our egos aside, because if you hear Rudolph talk sometime, if you hear others speak on both sides, you can see the egos in the room. And the egos doesn't matter what they're trying to accomplish. So, does Katarina point? I can't comment on the whole gender situation because I'm not an expert in that field. But I would say this, that if they're reasonable, if they want to achieve a common outcome, regardless of their gender and perspective, that they can do so. Do they need a person to be a referee in the room? To use a good way to think about this. Katarina called the arbitrator, conciliator, whatever you want to call it.
Facilitator.
They need somebody to facilitate the discussion. They do need somebody to do that because they apparently, by themselves, can't get there. And by the way, that party has to be agreed by both parties about who that person or person should be.
Yeah, and I think the male team, when they had their issue, they had Dave Cameron who mediated between the federation at that point and the players. But I want Minzy, because Minzy is in the education system. Do you see any gender issue that has led to this present conflict and the need for having some gender issue dealt with in resolving the present conflict? Because that is one of the point from last week Ketarak has been trying to posit where this is concerned.
In terms of gender issues, there might be underlined gender issues. We have this thing in our culture where we treat women, I don't even want to say it, a particular type of way. And we are kind of forceful, and it came across that way in the conversation with Mr. Speed. And I believe, as someone who coached females for over a decade, I know that how you deal with females is totally different from how you deal with a male athlete. It is filled with a lot of emotions, and you have to be very cautious and cagey how you deal with the females, because it might break some of them mentally. So it is, of course, some sort of gender issue, and I think that there should be some sort of I don't know, mediator or whatever, or some sort of training when you get into these positions, how you treat people and all of these things. Not to say that they should treat the females better than they treat the males, or the males better than they treat the females. Just that how you deal with genders from a different perspective. It takes a lot of psychology. Right. And I would say the way how I rough the masculine gender in training, I cannot do it with the female.
Right.
It is something that I have not practiced, and I have seen where it can cause issues, especially on the mental side. Now we oftentimes think the males them not really um feel no way about certain things. Yes, they do, but from what I know is that the males will just what do you call it now? Take them beating and move on.
Right.
But with the females, there's always a log. Always something logging. Always the diary, something is written in. And if you not try to fix that, it will even affect performance and all of these things going forward. So yeah, there should be some sort of therapy where that is concerned, I believe.
So, Minzy, I want to say something. There's certain language, and I've had gender sensitivity training um, as a senior public servant, right? When those matters came up, um, there's certain language that men tend to use that is not that is no longer appropriate. It was appropriate some time ago in the past, but in this modern time, there's certain language, certain words, certain phraseologies that not appropriate. We have a cultural issue in Jamaica where we feel as a man, but I take that chat from a woman. That is just it. Some man just said the man take that no woman can give me a chat. And when you come with that stance, you're going to get a pushback. And Marins and Minzy and Coach and Kyle, I'm not talking because
Oh, sorry,
I'm not.
Minzy and Coach is the same person.
Yeah, coach, I see him.
Sorry.
Oh, Jack,
In the
I
ones a
am I
cranky, in
am
the
not
ones a cranky, that's why.
I am not talking. I'm not talking from the fact like I am some genius on this. I have been through these issues. I have was in an organization at the time that had about 80 employees, and half of them were women. And when things came to a head, I just draw the book. And yes, I was following the book because I followed the staff orders and stuff like that. And then it was someone
Right.
from the Women's Center and USA. And I'll tell you what she said to me something. And even the young lady said to me when a couple of them came and they sat with me, said, listen, we are your biggest loyalists. We thank you for what you do. But you have to understand, like Mr. Blake, you ever consider say we are work good and then you ever consider say our time of the month come and we have cramp and you just a drive the same way, like you never sensitive. And I never thought of that. We just feel like yo, you have a deadline, you miss it. You,
All right.
and
Oh, sorry.
in the way that some of them might have their child ill, and it weighing on them brain because they're wondering about that motherly instinct. And when we were having our discussion the last Friday, when I said something about the two ladies who had a young baby, and maybe they had to make arrangements in terms of paying a babysitter for the month while they went off to Australia before, and therefore they might have been depending on getting back this money to reimburse. Somebody says so. Should accommodation be made for somebody who have them dog and them pet? That sort of insensitivity is what I am speaking about. We
All right.
think and deal with our women. I want this to come to an end so that the best team can take the field, they can perform in the best way, and the drama and the passa, which does not do well for the sport and sponsors, etc., that what's on the field takes more
All right.
prominence than the off the field drama.
Yeah. All right. Cataract. Part of sometimes the conversations with you. The people talk about the sandwich way of dealing with things, bread on top, the cussing in the middle, and bread on the other side. So what you do, you sandwich some of the things that are misleading in the middle of bread and stuff. So you see how you ended that about you want the passa. The truth is, all of us want that, and we don't have a problem with you saying that, right? If you said to me like what A.M. Henry is saying, there is only one woman on the JFF board, and that's a problem, right? She said contracts are gender neutral. The girls don't believe they are respected. They don't see any diversity around them. You see, that I can appreciate. But with the present situation, every single issue is that the girls are presently complaining about are the said issue the boys complained about when it was referred to, if you think this a party shop, right? That was disrespectful. And the next action was taken is that some of those players were not. Again, if you go back to the Gold Cup where Rudolph Austin was the captain, when the players were not being paid and they were asked to play and then they would get some money and they were not. After that time, many of those players were not called back. And I'm saying that those issues, the issues that the girls are speaking of right now, they are consistent with the issues with the male team. That is why we are saying it is not a gender issue. What all of us can agree on is that while the contracts are gender neutral, we need to see greater diversity. That is one of the reasons why I would say if there's a highly qualified female coach, maybe we should probably look at that if she meets the necessary skills so people can begin to see more female around the male program. In our schools, I think in the entire national setup, is Tashana Vincent is the only female coach. And I think they had Thomas with the senior team recently, who was an assistant. Maybe we need to speak about those issues. But to say the contract situation, the money situation, the flight situation, the informing them before the coach, these are the gender issues. It is not true because it is a said issue. The boys, most of those players on the team didn't want Tapa to leave either.
Manage.
Yes, Kyle.
Look, let me ask you a question. And I'm not, I just want to put it out there. Because the girls don't speak about gender issues, does it mean that it doesn't exist?
But all right, you'd have to tell me where it exists though. I'm not saying it don't exist, but there's no evidence that they listen. In fact, I've never heard the girls complaining.
Right.
In fact, let me say this. Hold on, let me say this. We have had allegations of male players in the past being affected by our national programs. In our youth players, I've never heard it on the female side.
Right.
And that is what I'm saying. If the issues exist, it would be hard for me to believe in the culture that we're in now that the girls wouldn't be strident about it.
Well, let me just say that the presentation Mr. Speed gave, let everybody question if there is a gender issue. Because coming off like that raised a lot of red flags.
Yeah, but Carl, Mr. Speed speak the same way about the male team. You ever hear Mr. Speed talk?
Man is man.
It's not right.
I'm just asking the question, management. I'm just asking the question because the girls don't speak on it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And if you have people presenting themselves in a certain way, the questions will be asked. But
I am saying though, Kyle, what I'm saying though is that the same tone and the same attitude Mr. Speed has when he speaks about the female, him not sound no different when he talk about the male team.
Okay, man.
But I think that insight into the engagement model is reflected in the tape that Lowe put out when they were trying to have the contractor situation 3 years ago in terms of how people are engaging. And if we're going to use gender as a part of the whole discussion about the engagement model and how people operate and communicate, I think it's been really bad with the men over the years. It was very dictatorial in that if you listen to that tape, the JFF came off really poor in that engagement. Lowe came off as a professional, articulate, and it was the JFF who sounded really poor. And that engagement suggested you take it or leave it, right? Which is what Rudolph is saying now in today's environment. It's no different from how the males were engaged. So I would agree with Mannix in a sense where, at least from where I sit, I didn't see it as a gender issue. Doesn't mean there is nothing that one can say that it may not be. We don't have the evidence, but I don't think it's a gender issue. I think it's more about how you engage people.
Yeah, man. All right, we have Tennessee's on the line. Tennessee.
Yeah, man. Big up yourself. And big up your man name, Pane. But, I mean, in all the problems that the JFF and the girls have you ever heard anything where the girls came out and complained about gender issues?
That's what I just said. Maybe you have to ask Cataract Martino because me know the answer.
So
Me, I
So,
wonder if
so
we are going
Tennessee.
we are dig up worm, like we are trying to find some kind of thing to go at our identity. Because I don't hear them a complain about that. As what Cranky just say, the same way
So
speak about
Tennessee.
the team, and the
So,
same way they speak about the women.
so
I don't
Tennessee.
hear
There's only a problem
yeah.
when somebody complains about it. You can't have a problem where it's not said.
But Cataract, what Tennessee is making a point. If they're going to be strident on their pay, selection, the timing of a coach, and knowing the backroom staff, if there are major gender issues, why wouldn't they also include it in the dialogue?
So,
Because
so let,
yeah,
let me say what Mannings. Just one thing and then Tennessee again, right?
yeah.
I have been reliably informed that one of the issues that they were concerned about, or as an issue of concern, was that one of the front runners for the position had accusations of sexual impropriety made against him, one of the front runners for coach. And that quickly escalated to where the person was removed from the first team and the other teams at his club.
So I
That's an
suggest there's
issue
no
of
agenda
gender.
issue then.
Right. So the JFF addressed that then.
Yeah,
No,
Wait.
no,
Cataract.
no, no, no. No. So, hold on. I'm saying it was addressed after we
But
were
Cataract,
told. But
are they,
when the letter was
Cataract,
written,
Cataract, let
when,
me just say this. Sorry to
let me stop.
interrupt you, but I have to say this. Wasn't there a situation with the previous coach that many of us said the JFF should not remove him because nothing was proven? And none of the girls ever came out and said we don't want him. But the JFF removed him before the even.
Okay.
I'm saying no. That
No, Cataract.
no,
I'm
hold
just
on. Let me
after what
see.
we
No,
just said.
and you made a point, and but that doesn't address the point I'm making. That the questioning of
Of course it does.
who, oh, jeez.
Of course it does. If I'm saying to you, there was a similar case to what you raised, and
No,
forthwith,
it wasn't similar.
JFF, no, allegations were made in international media. Forthwith, without it going to court, JFF removed the man from a successful team. Why would I not believe that they are so compromised by gender issues that they are aware of these issues with an ex-person and they are willingly going to hire him when they fired someone for similar situations?
So you have always accused me about listening. So I'm going to say to you, level the accusation against you. I'm saying the reason why I am told the girls inquired about who was being considered for the coaching role was because one of the persons was at the front. I didn't say anything about JFF hire and JFF wasn't going to. I'm saying it's not that they wanted to pick a coach because or ask because they didn't want a too defensive coach, or they wanted an attack-minded coach, or they wanted a short coach, they wanted a female coach. I'm saying the concern that I understand was being raised and I reliably told was related to the fact that the shortlist now, at the point when the letter was written, contained a coach who had the shadow of allegations over his head. And it, during the time of the letter, it escalated. So you understand what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the high, I'm talking about why the girls inquired. One of the reasons, it may be a number of others, but one of the reasons I'm told was that matter.
All right.
So that's what I'm speaking to. Go ahead, Kyle.
All right.
So,
Kyle, let me finish with Tennessee online first, and
oh,
then because he's online. Go ahead, Tennessee, because I want to make sure you make your point. Tennessee?
I just think we are getting money. Are you hearing me?
No, man, yeah, we're here now. Go ahead.
I just think we are getting money for something with them in a sense right now. Because if a girl is not complaining about, all right, somebody say, not because they don't talk about it, it's not there. So if you have a problem and you address the problem where you have with the federation. So if you have a next problem where you wouldn't put that in the letter, where you right. I just think we are trying to manufacture problem where we don't have a problem. Because if a girl them have gender issues, why they don't say? You understand? And the JFF didn't hire that coach as yet.
In fact,
And
Mr. Speed came out in Tennessee, and said the moment we heard about the allegation, we took him off the list. He said it. He said the moment the issue came up, he said they took him off the list immediately.
You understand? And a lot of people, they want back the previous coach, where they have the allegation. You understand?
Exactly.
So, I don't know, like, where that kind of thing I come from. I just think we have manufactured problem, far more problem where we have already. Instead of we deal with the problem at hand, you understand? We just bring up more problems than when necessary. You understand? I just that may I say still, but everybody have their own opinion and things. You understand? I just think this is more problem one way. Because if the girl had the problem, they would say. You understand? I don't think them scared. I think they're brave enough to say if they have gender issues or gender bias. I don't have no problem with the girl getting a woman coach. You understand? Because I think they should have a woman coach. But I just think we just have manufactured too much problem. Yeah, big up on the sales still.
All right then. All right, Tennessee. Respect.
Yeah, Mannings. I think we have had a history of problems between the JFF and players, male or female, and over the years, they were always there, Mannings, man, but were not in the public domain as they are today. Between all the different avenues, you get public information. You talk to some of the older players, as you have Mannings, man, a lot of times. The problem was even much worse than it is today, but somehow they muddle through it because they want to play for their country. Right? They just want to play the football. They want to get the notoriety come with it. But they weren't paid. They weren't treated fairly. They weren't treated right. But it happened year after year after year. Players are much more exposed now. They don't have to put up with the nonsense that they did in the past. And they're expressing their view more in the public domain. How does the organization then pivot to work with the players? And some of these people in the organization, management, have been there forever.
Yeah.
You hear Raymond say he's been in JFF for 37 years. I have to laugh. Every time I say it, man, I have to laugh. 37 years. Like it's a man's house. Live there. Right? Rick has been there forever. Their business, and we don't get any fresh blood, new ideas, new perspective in the JFF that would allow them to change and pivot. So you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same results, and they've been doing the same thing over and over again, and the players are pushing back. How does the JFF change to make sure it can function as a functional, well-respected organization going forward versus how it's viewed now as being very dysfunctional?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Go ahead now, Kyle. I know you were trying to interject.
Yeah,
I
just wanted to, wrap it up. So, I mean, from what I've seen, the JFF have been sensitive to whatever issues that the girls have brought forward. They could have been better on some points, but they have tried. Let's just put it like that. This current impasse, I mean, this was brewing for God knows how long. And the solution, as we all know, is mediation. Like someone suggested, they need a third party to come in, whoever they designate or whoever they agree with, agree upon, has to be, fair-minded, balanced, and receptive to both parties. But I believe that the sooner we get it solved, the better it will be for Jamaican football. And I'm hoping that we, get this thing just wrapped up, because it can't drag on. It's a PR disaster. Nobody wins.
Yeah.
Nobody wins.
Yeah. I have a pointed question for you, Kyle. Of the two leaders, or the two persons seeking to lead, which one you believe puts us in a position to progress the football further?
Jackman Dora, I'm gonna choose none. But what I go on. But what I will tell you is this. And let me tell you what I see happening. Okay.
Yes.
And this is our politics. There will be a protest vote. That's what I see coming. Because there's no way in the world you can run an organization like how the JFF have run it for over these years, and you don't have some disgruntled entities. Ricketts might well be the president when all this is done, but I believe it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. And if the other candidate wins, I do not believe it's going to be a blowout either. I believe it's going to be close.
No, I'm not asking you who's going to win an election. What I'm asking you, of the two
I'm
person,
not picking none of them, boy.
I'm asking you to. I'm not picking any. What? I'm
Go
not asking you to make a.
Give me the question again, because we don't know. I don't know what time you know.
What's trying to stay away from the politics? I'm not asking you to vote and choose. What I'm asking you that just based on what you have seen and heard, which one do you trust more in terms of providing the type of leadership in the football? Like you, I would trust this person leadership more.
Okay, so I hope that you ask Cranky that question. You ask Catcher that question, and you yourself answer that question. Because you can't put me alone in this. But who would I trust more in terms of leadership? I mean, there is no difference there. You know, there's no difference in terms of Ricketts and Mr. Anderson. Anderson, you don't know. He's a blank card. Ricketts, given what has transpired over the past 2 terms, my God. I mean, there's an old saying, stick with the evil you know. You know what I mean? And there's another saying that says, what the hell do we have to lose if we choose another way forward? Those are the options that we have. You will either stick with the evil you know, or what do I have to lose if I move with this other party? Anyway, I mean, that's it. I can't answer it no better than that. Cranky, over to you.
Pass the hot plate. I think we have been on this road before, when we had Burrell. We had a president who came in for a short period and failed miserably, and then we moved back to Burrell, and he made sure he was president for life after that. I do agree with Carl. It's between a rock and a hard place. There is no real choice. I think the person who wins is going to be the one who have more resources to disseminate to the voters to get what they want, as we normally have in Jamaican politics. That's a very critical way to think about it, but I think that's the fact. Who can provide, who's going to offer positions to voters or whatever else you can provide to those voters to get them on your side. I don't think the selection process is going to be based on skill set and accomplishments and qualification. There are going to be other factors at play in selecting it. But you're right, Kyle. We don't have good choices. In fact, it's like the U.S. election.
Exactly.
You don't really have a good choice, and you feel really cheated because you have to default to something which you believe is not. It's between incompetence and perceived incompetence. It's between incompetence on both sides, because if you've been in the vice president role for 18 years and in JFF for 37 years, and you hear me beat this drum, and you can't point to one accomplishment in that entire period, I don't care who you got on board. How are you going to be able to take the reign of the JFF? Can I envision you in front of the FIFA Congress speaking on behalf of Jamaican football and football in general? No, I can't. I just can't. I can't envision you in that forum. And it may be bad me saying that. It may not be fair to you. But I've seen you in certain public forum. I've seen how you operate. I've seen how you communicate. I haven't walked away feeling a sense of, you know what? This person can really do the job. This is who we need. And I know you've brought on some people with resumes. Some of the resumes not that stellar, frankly, be part of the organization. But will we be better off changing administration? And this is here's how bad this is, right?
Cranky. What's that, Cranky?
Here's how bad this is. Here's how bad this is. We have seen how fallible, how poor, our lack of competence. You know how you read the word incompetence. The JFF has been, and we're struggling to select the alternative. That's hard to do. If you've been awful, and we're saying we don't think the next person's gonna be better, it shows where that organization stands. So I would have to abstain from voting, which is really bad too.
Yeah.
I would have to abstain from voting. I don't see how I vote for either party.
Oh, all right. Cataract, or you want me to go first?
Cataract, quiet.
He's distracted. He's never quiet.
I'm invited, and I keep my mic mute, unlike Stan Cronky, so it takes a minute to unmute the mic.
Cataract, he's the host, don't you? So
yeah, but the host can mute their mic too. Mics are muted. Yeah. Right. Would you like to go ahead, Martin? So
you want me to go? Come, my position is very easy, you know. All right.
Yes, sir.
So I am all for people in the Jamaicans in the diaspora playing. I am presently struggling with the alignment of persons behind Mr. Anderson because of public sentiments they have made about people in the diaspora representing Jamaica. And I think it's a very deadly position for the football. And until I can be convinced that that is not their position, and it will not be, it's going to be hard for me to really trust them to lead the football.
So my name's man. You know what? I'm not gonna put you on the spot. I'm gonna leave it alone. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, so what, you're playing softball now?
Yes,
Mannings,
I'm playing softball with my friend Mannings, man. I'm playing softball. Yes,
Oh,
I am doing that.
so management by giving you
What?
a hosting role.
Not
Cataract,
with
your
Yeah,
time
man,
is
they get
monetary
buyout,
like they do
man.
with you,
time is
politics.
going.
So you can't ask the
Yes, he
producer.
bought me out. He
Put the
bought me out. He
producer on
bought
the
me out.
spot. Put the producer on the spot.
Unlike some people, we don't broadcast everything in the public domain. We know what to put in the public domain and what to withheld. Go ahead,
With
Catherine.
everything. Well, be a selector. I am coming closer to a decision about whom to support in this presidential elections but some of it is by default because I did say that I'll wait until I hear the manifesto of Mr. Ricketts, but I'm seeing some things that have me very uncomfortable. I'm a believer in the Constitution and in constitutions. And when somebody runs roughshod over the Constitution and gets to a point of being a dictator or despot, I can't support that. Let me just say, I can't support that. I did about 2 weeks ago raise the issue, and it was right here, about whether the elections were going to be held when they were constitutionally due by the end of the year. And my good friend Manningsman, fellow panelist, said he has no doubt and no worries to worry about that. Why are you worried about that, cataract? And unfortunately, my fears were justified. Also, pushing me closer is the article that I read on Sunday in the Gleaner, I think it was, about the current president's legal woes. And I'm not going to rehash it. I spoke on Coach's desk last night. But that's a very serious concern to me. It makes me have to question someone's judgment, their respect for the institutions, because to hear that he didn't go to court, that he has not complied with a court order to make a payment for the legal fees, that doesn't sit well with me. You're in contempt of the court. And our country is made up of the executive, the parliament, and the judiciary. And you must respect those, especially when you hold high office. Mr. Anderson comes as a candidate with some weaknesses and question marks. And I'll say this again. I was not convinced by the answer he gave about the lack of development in St. Mary during his time in football. He didn't answer that and appease that to me. He certainly did answer the question about players in the diaspora, recruitment, particularly of elite English players. That's what I asked about pointedly on Coach's desk, and he answered it for me. Other persons in who were supporting him, man is correct. Carvel Stewart being one, and his public utterances. But I haven't heard his utterances recently. But I asked the president, "What's your position?" And then the next time that I am on any program areas, I'm going to ask him, "How are you going to deal with the fact that there are those who are supporting you that are diametrically opposed to that position?" And man is correct. I'd be very afraid of anything that's taking me back to picking 23 players from the JPL. That's not going to work for me, bro. But I have big concerns now about Mr. Ricketts and his tenure. And the utterances that I'm hearing now, which some of them, let me say this, come across like how they're dealing with the girls, which is, take this and leave it. We have call an election in January. No election in 2023. There's a constitution, and it said by the end of the year. So how do you just get up and say none? And so
just read that comment on the screen for Catara.
It says, so you're not closer to making up your mind. You've already made up your mind.
Or even I'm not close to it. No, I can make up my mind and say I'm not going to support nobody and just sit down.
All the person is saying that you said that you are closer to making up your mind, but based on what you just said, you're going with.
You already made up your mind.
You have made up your mind.
No, you take my friend for telling me to make up my mind. I make up my mind. Listen, hold on. Let me just tell you something. Right, I make up my mind.
Cataract.
Hold on. Let me just answer now. Let me respond.
No, Cataract. Let's hear what we're saying. If you don't need anything long, you started your conversation by saying, "I am closer to making up my mind." But in your dialogue, it is clear that you have made up your mind. All right.
No, I have not. And I can help you. Okay, when I make up my mind, everywhere you see me. So I have made up my mind that whenever election is called, time come. I'm voting for Mark Golden. No, but my mind can't change. My mind make up. And I will go out and campaign. Right?
Stick to the football, please.
No. You can't tell me what to stick to, Kyle, with due respect. I'm telling you, when I make up my mind, that's how my mind is made. I play Cataract sound. People come to me all the time and ask me, boy, come over and play my sound. I'm going to say, no, Cataract, my sound. I live and die with it.
I have a call online. Have you made up your mind?
No, I have not.
Okay, all right.
But soon and very soon.
You will make up your mind.
I'm getting there.
All right, then. Cool.
I would say I'm 8 out of 10 along the way.
All right, call online. Talk to Cranky. He's the host because he has to run. In a few minutes.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I asked question before. I don't think that I got the right or the required answer. So I want to try and understand how is it JFF is a private entity, yet we speak so much of constitution, voting process to elect leaders. I don't see them on the junior stock exchange, so I'm not understanding how is it they are private, yet it seems as if they operate under a public office policies.
Go ahead, Cranky.
Well, no, I think they are part of the FIFA organization, right?
Answer that.
Yeah, they're part of FIFA, and as a governing body, a football body, FIFA operate under certain requirements and so.
Carla, you're breaking up. You want to hang up and listen to Cranky because we're not hearing you, but Cranky's answering the question, so I hope you're hearing him.
Yeah, I mean it's a quasi private organization.
Speaking, I'm just listening.
Okay.
Mine's hard to follow. I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, we're getting some. All right, there's a lot of sound in the background. All right, so just call back Parish Council, but go ahead, Cranky. He's asking how can the JFF be, But go ahead.
No, I mean even private organizations have things that they abide by. Their processes, terms of reference that they abide by, management, and as a part of the FIFA organization, so is the JFF. They have things they have to abide by to be part of that organization, including having a constitution. But the constitution, the country have a constitution, and FIFA have their own constitution about how they operate, and the JFF has its. And as Cataract alluded to, part of that whole setup is that you need to have elections to select who's going to run your administration, and they have timelines surrounding that. And we're supposed to have one by end of December, by December, right? That's a drop dead date to have the election. Yeah. And you heard previously on different shows where an attorney wrote in to outline what those things are, right? That needs to be done. And they have not been done or will not be able to get done by the stipulated timeline, which then suggests that they're violating their own constitution, right? Because they had to put one in place, given what they had, some issue they had with FIFA in the past. So I do think it's interesting that this is not going to occur. The question is, what's the penalty for not subscribing and adhering to your constitution under FIFA guidelines, man? That's the question.
That's the big question.
Yeah, but you know that FIFA
You're
allows you to.
asking-
I'll say that one thing. Number two, I have a company. It's not on the junior stock market either. It doesn't take away from the status. And I think somebody else has said it. Coming to your cataract, it says limited liability companies doesn't have to be on the stock exchange to validate their position as limited liability companies, right? And you can still have boards and those things that govern them, though they offer public services. Because a person could be in contract with the government, but they're on a garbage disposal company. So they offer public service, but they're a private-owned organization or company, and by choice they can choose the parish council or not. But I really love some of A.M. Henry's comments. So, originally Cataract said that he was closer to making up his mind. So now Kyle asked her, when are you coming? You're going to come on the show. All right. And her response to Kyle, I am closer.
So it appears that none of these panelists we have on tonight can definitively say who they're going to support, which gives you a good insight into the selection that we have, the potential, the people we believe who are running for the positions, and the perspective on them.
So you didn't hear when management said he would get to Cataract? You just jump in again, attack. So management,
I'm running the program.
The producer.
The host will kick you off, though. That I will tell you. He has those powers, so be careful where you're going. Be very careful. That's what I'm saying.
No regard to the Constitution, but
Cataract. Earlier in the conversation, you said you needed an E license, right? I say you need an M license. That's what I think you need.
No, I don't know about the M license, but
no, it's a mouth license. It's a mouth license.
No, sir. I'm a Jamaican male, and I play a sound system. Don't come to me with no mouth license business. Don't do that. Especially when the man are clipped. And the E license is what we have been now told about, all courtesy of Ansi. But listen, manins. FIFA can step in with a normalization committee. If you have elections in which there are shenanigans, Argentina, Chad, Kenya, because I've been looking this thing up, right? The whole article on it. I think about 26 countries that have had normalization in recent times. Some have been banned.
Argentina never had a normalization committee.
Oh, okay. But next program, I'll read the article to you.
Okay.
Right? Or the intervention from FIFA.
I'd love when you're making the statements, though, on the program that you make the statement that you actually have the article, because sometimes I kind of find that.
I don't know that would come up, but hold on.
No, you brought it. It didn't come up. You brought it up.
Yes, so I can only speak when I look at it. I've seen you go for article, but Let me
All right, no, go ahead. Just go ahead, because
hold on.
Yeah, I have 4 more minutes. It's 6:11. I have 6:15. I'm leaving.
So Kenya and Zimbabwe are the most recent ones for not complying with rules. Normalization Committee: Kuwait, Guinea, Guatemala, Greece, Argentina, Thailand, Mali, Benin, Madagascar 3 times, Trinidad and Tobago 4 times. No, I think they're counting. Madagascar, Trinidad and Tobago, Dominican Republic, Egypt, and Venezuela.
All right. So Argentina, at what point went through normalization committee, Cataract?
I think you got the mute license. You got the mute or the mode license.
But I'm getting back to. Let me just get to the most important. Let me get to the more important point before that. There are dangers to eminent dangers. Just like we feel that Carvel Stewart is a danger to the national team because of his stance against English-based players. I believe now that Mr. Ricketts, maybe if it goes past tomorrow and the election is not called by the 31st, a danger to Jamaican football because I can't imagine our national football going. We've been on restrictive financing for failure
Which is why, Keterak, I'm saying to you, normalization, is very difficult because guess what? A lot of Jamaica, because a lot of the times when people go through normalization committee is because of government intervention in the programs. Number one, civil unrest, like in the case of Venezuela, right? Hold on, right? Where there are serious financial shenanigans happening within the federation. The fact that, which is what one of the things, if Jamaica never had the person from FIFA, because I think FIFA were going to put us on normalization committee. Somehow the conversation led to them coming in and basically overseeing what they spent. I think if there are issues there, the normalization committee would come in to help and bring the football. But the fact that they have them, I find it highly unlikely that the present issues like with the girl would lead to normalization.
No, I did not say that. I did not say anything about the situation with the girls. Please don't do that. Don't do that.
No, okay, all right.
I'm speaking about the failure to hold the elections when they are constitutionally due.
But when are they constitutionally due, Ketara?
By the end of the year.
So, but you can't say normalization until the year ends, though.
No, because there are certain things that have to happen. You have to give 60 days notice. So that 60 days notice. Hold on, man.
Cataract, as you say the thing, we're trying to learn from you, You're the political activist. So let us ask you the question as you go along. Let us
So let me finish this sentence. Let me finish this sentence and you ask the question.
Right there, right? You said 60. All we want to find out from you is that according to the constitution of FIFA? Because there was an election.
No, sir. That's the constitution of Jamaica Football Federation.
Oh, so the constitution of Jamaica Football Federation says the election must be held by the end of December 31st, 2023. And there
No. Please don't do that again. Please don't do that. Sir, the Constitution can't state a date. This is what the Constitution says. You have a 4-year term. Your 4-year term came to an end September 15th. It gave a period of time in which the election must be called. It also says that before the election date, it must be called 60 days before that by a Congress. So we know the date. So when you come to November 1st, if it's not called November 1st, it won't be 60 days by December 31st.
Okay.
So
all right. Can you send me that
the Jamaican Constitution?
No, pardon mercy. All right. So can I ask you a question, please?
Yeah, boss.
Okay. Can you send me the part of the Constitution that just clearly articulate what you have paraphrased so I can read it for myself? I know you're very smart and you're highly sophisticated in the English language, and your time at Oxford helps you to
my time at Leeds and my time at Hull University and Nottingham Trent.
All right. So let me say this. I have to go. Sorry.
So management, you work for the organization. But if you will, I will.
It doesn't take a second to take a break. So let me just, management, I have to leave. It's 6:16 a.m. I got to go to work. Let me just say this. The genesis of this program was more about how we can help. The dialogue was more about how we can have a discussion about next steps for the JFF as it relates to its senior women's and men's football team, and how we can operate as a normal organization, I use the word normal in quotes, to make sure things work well, professional organization, normal organization, to make sure going forward, we can all enjoy the football without the drama that we seem to have 24/7 in this program. and how we can get, and this was part of it, but I'll say this, competent people in the roles, because if you don't have competent people management, if you're going to bring in a new administration with the same perspective on how things should work, and who don't believe in working as a team, and not we're going to end up in the same place, management. I'm going to have the same dialogue. And yes, it gives information to YouTubers and the media and all the drama, but we don't need the drama. What we need is a competent football program that we can, and we have the players now on both the male and female side who we can be proud of and will give us results on the field. They give results in the administration and the boardroom. Cataract management, gotta go. Enjoy the day. Or enjoy your evening and enjoy the my day.
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Great show. Thank you so much. All the best.
Bless up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All right. Respect, Cranky. All right, Cataract, your time. Continue now.
Okay. I'm saying that the concern about the status of the program and the way forward must include having elections held in their constitutionally due time. Because if you have a leadership and an administration that doesn't show respect or regard for the constitution, its own constitution, then they have a credibility deficit when it even comes to negotiating with the girls and with the men. Because they say, if you can't stick by what you put down as your rules, how can we believe that you are going to respect and observe the contents of our contracts that we sign and agreements that we make? So leadership has to be credible. So I think that it's inextricably linked, the holding of the elections, with a step in moving forward with the girls. I think conciliatory talks, not grievance procedures, which are legal procedures, but a sort of out of court or out of grievance settlement that's facilitated by somebody that's sensitive to the particular peculiarities is necessary. Right? But you are a part of the organization. When you join an organization, the first thing you must have is this constitution, even if on a cursory basis, so that you know what governs and covers you as an employee in there, and what it states about the rules and those things. So a constitution should be given to every employee or everybody who is engaged. Because you're not you said you're not an employee, so anybody who's engaged, so that they know that they don't contravene the constitution. Right?
Okay.
But you must have a democratic process and you have to follow that. And if you don't, if there's a breakdown in democracy, one place, it's a threat to democracy everywhere. That's a known political adage.
All right, so let me read some of the things. I can't give you everything on it, but the appointment of a normalization committee is regarded as a last resort when FIFA considered that the domestic governance of the game has been irretrievably broken down. The constitution of a normalization committee usually follows the suspension of a member association by the council, where that member association is unable to confirm that it has demonstrated that it is able to comply with the requisite principles of good governance. So what normally happens is that, listen, they will suspend you and you have to meet certain things. And if you don't meet certain things like Trinidad, then the normalization committee comes in. So first there is a suspension. While suspended, a member association loses all of its membership rights as defined in Article 13 of the statutes, and national and affiliated club teams are not entitled to take part in international competitions until the suspension is lifted. Other member associations are also not permitted to have any sporting contact with a member association during the suspension. All right, so what would first happen is that FIFA would say we're going to suspend Jamaica for 6 months. In that 6 months, they will say do our 1 year, however they want. They would say do this. And if when that is presented to the FIFA Council, it is not upheld, then the normalization committee would come in and, right, come and lead the whole organization. All right. So FIFA appointed a normalization committee for the Kuwait Football Association on the 1st of January 2018, following a 2015 suspension for watch this, alleged government information in the affairs of the Kuwait Football Association. Similarly, FIFA intervened in Mali's football, right, for government interference after Mali sport minister dissolved the executive committee of the association. In the case of the Football Association of Thailand, the executive committee was removed following a ban to the FAT's president for breach to FIFA's code of ethics. He was given a suspended 16-month sentence by a Thai court for falsifying documents to amend the FAT status ahead of FAT presidential election. A normalization committee was set up in 2015. FIFA intervened in the governance of the Uruguayan Football Association after the sudden resignation of its president in 2018. His resignation followed the release of compromising audio recordings, the content of which is unknown, although there was some suggestion that these recordings contain comments about sports administrators, a member of the government, and sports journalists. FIFA intervention was based on lack of guarantee of the electoral process. The Normalization Committee of Ghanaian Football Association was appointed following the similar concerns regarding breaches of ethics in the members' association and government intervention. And then it talks about the constitution of it.
So management, permit me to read to you the following. And I don't know if it's that you might not have seen it. Recently, normalization committees have been established in Guinea and Chad, following a series of irregularities that took place during the electoral process of the Guinean Football Association and the Chadian FA's inability to carry out an electoral process in accordance with FIFA's requirements. Most recently,
so stop Cataract.
Hold on.
Cataract. Just listen what I'm asking you, man. You have to learn to have conversation. At what point did I say if there are irregularities in the electoral process, there will not be the suspension and the intervention? I just read that.
I don't know what you said. I say you didn't say that. I'm saying to you, I'm reading my source article, and I'm pointing out that it says that in the case of Chad, it is the failure to hold elections that caused precipitated.
Read what it just said, Cataract.
Okay, let me read again. All right. And I'll go for the Chadian.
We just want to hear because you just said the reason for the intervention. This is what you just said.
Hold on, let me read it now. You asked me to read, and then you say.
First, I want to repeat what you said.
No. So can I read it again? Because it's on paper. So you don't have to repeat me. Let me go again. Recently, normalization committees have been established in Guinea and Chad, following a series of irregularities that took place during the electoral process of the Guinean Football Association and the Chad Football Association's inability to carry out an electoral process. So one was for
Cataract. Because in Chad, the person was appointed as the president without having an election.
They failed to carry out an electoral
so the
process.
person was appointed as the president in Chad without having an election. That was due.
So earlier, management, you had said that normalization is when there are financial irregularities, etc., etc. And I said to you that there are other reasons.
I also talk about breaching. I also spoke about breaching FIFA code of ethics.
Yes.
Yes, which is if you don't have an election and you said this person is the president, FIFA is going to step in because part of the FIFA code of ethics is to have a constitutional election, and if you don't, that is going to happen.
So, management, let me ask you this, right?
Yes.
Were you or were you not aware? Because you even answered me on one occasion when you said you are confident elections will be held by the end of the year when they are constitutionally due. That elections for the Jamaica Football Federation's presidency and its vice presidencies are constitutionally
So
due.
you are
No, hold on, I'm
you no
asking a
here's
question. Oh, God.
but I
Jesus.
have to answer this because I responded that way because what I know the election must be called by the end of the year. You said, watch me, all I'm saying is that you said that in the constitution it is the presidency ends as of September. That's what you said.
No,
Therefore,
it ends at the expiration of your 4-year term. You have a 4-year
so your
term.
4-year term expires in September.
And the 4-year term of this administration expired in September.
Yeah. So you said the 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 expiration of this present president was the ending of
No,
September.
sir. No, sir. I said the
Yes.
tenure of the board,
Oh, the board,
including the president,
including
vice
the president.
presidents,
Eh,
and every somebody will sit down on it, is a 4-year tenure. And that ended on this 15th of September or the 14th of September, whichever one, right? There, however, is a provision for the process to call the elections, which would give you up to the end of the year 2023.
yes, all I'm doing, Cataract, is repeating what you're saying.
Well, just repeat that last thing that I said. That
So,
there is a process in the Constitution.
Cataract, can you
Okay.
please listen? You see, we are not in a back and forth because every time I try to ask you something, something else get added. Me not have no time for that, bro. So here's what you said. You read in the Constitution. Did you read it in the JFF Constitution? Simple question. Yes or
Read
no?
what in the JFF Constitution.
What you are suggesting now about the expiration and about the constitutionality of the election and the 60-day period, you read that in the Constitution of the Jamaica Football Federation.
That was agreed upon between FIFA,
No,
the
man,
new
I'm asking you.
Constitution,
Listen
the
what I'm asking you. Cataract,
new con.
I'm not
Let me
asking you
answer.
about the new one or the old one. I'm just asking you if you read it, yes or no. That's all I'm asking you. I'm not trying to go anywhere now. I just want to know if you read it, yes or no. Simple.
The excerpts, yes, the excerpts came from there
The excerpts. Can you send those excerpts to me, please, or tell me where I can find them?
in the Constitution.
All right. So you have access to the Constitution.
And hold on, hold on, and let
I'm
me go
just
even.
asking you to tell me yes or no.
Let me go even further. Let me go.
Cataract, before you go even further, just
Let me.
do you
So
have the Constitution? Yes or no? Just that's all I'm asking you. I'm not trying to trick. I'm just really curious because I would love to get a hold of that so I can read it for the people, just like how I've presented here the article that I cited from. I would love to get the article that's also I can read it to the people because they want to hear. I'm not trying to win an argument with you. I'm not trying to prove you're wrong. I'm just asking you a simple question. Seeing that you have the excerpts on it, wouldn't it be wise for us to just present it to the people? That's all I'm asking you, know.
so let me answer you, man. Let me answer you. You're asking me, Cataract, and one thing you know, and you know, because you have the nice white nails, I have a lawyer, and that's who I have entrusted to read, interpret, and give me the relevant sections of the Constitution as it applies to this, so that I am knowledgeable. And I'm asking you, as a person engaged to the Jamaica Football Federation, you are asking an external person. Why don't you just ask your general secretary,
Okay, so
right, to
all
give
right,
you the
so all right,
Constitution, the
people,
whole light?
I am here supporting Ketara.
But
What
you're supporting what?
let me I'm here supporting what Ketarak is saying is that his attorney is the person who read the Constitution, and his attorney
Yes.
having read the Constitution, all right, took out what he or she, the attorney, believed was important,
Yes.
gave that to Cataract in a conversation, and from that conversation, Cataract is presenting this information.
Right.
Fine, Cataract.
So it is more than what is in the letter that is to the
All
that
right.
was read out on coaches desk. Because
So,
that letter quoted one article
what
and
letter?
about
Who we going to let her know?
no, I'm just somebody who put it in the comment sections and saying I am not relying on the letter that was sent by the attorney to the general secretary. I am dealing with my own people who I trust.
So, people. All
So
right.
man, you are telling me that you have never. Let me ask you a question now. You're telling me that you have never, as a host, as a social media journalist and a respected figure, you have never read the constitution of the JFF that it runs under currently,
Yes, Cataract.
and you
I
have
have
read
the
the
Constitution,
sections that have like.
and my understanding of this section is different from your understanding of
So
this section.
how long? What's your understanding
Hold
is
on
the
now.
tenure of a board?
So here's what I will do, Cataract, because you won't be able to present the information.
Soon and very soon, my brother.
Hold on, man. I'm going to get that particular section and reference it, because what I believe is presenting the information to the people. That's what I'm saying to you, know.
Yes.
Just like how I cited what that has said, because what you are saying is that according to the Constitution, let me go by it again. According to the Constitution, the expiration was
Tenure is 4 years.
the tenure, the
It's
expiration,
4 years.
4 years, which would
Yes.
have been September 2023.
Yes, sir.
Right? So there should be a election.
Yes, sir.
Constitutionally due according to the Constitution or the bylaws of the Jamaica Football Federation in the year 2023. And for that to take place, also in the Constitution, an election must be announced at least 60 days before the election. That means that if on the 1st of September,
Of November,
there is not an announcement, then based on that, the JFF has breached their own constitution, which is approved and submitted to FIFA.
FIFA. Yes,
And
sir.
FIFA should intervene.
No. No. You're putting words in my mouth.
Oh, so you're saying that? So okay, what? Because you are referencing this in terms of normalization
Yeah,
committee,
no, you're telling me
which
that
is FIFA.
I said FIFA should, and I'm
That's what
saying
I
that
said. You're saying that
I
FIFA
said
should
FIFA
intervene.
could. So you're changing a letter and a word that I said.
You're not suggesting that FIFA intervene. You're saying that they could intervene.
Yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
We are at risk of FIFA intervention.
We are at risk of FIFA intervention. All right, cool. Yes. All right, fine. So what we need to do is that we need to find that in the Constitution and present it to the people. That's it. It's not a big argument.
Sure.
So tomorrow, I will do that. No, for the person who are saying that I am an insider. People, again, I don't know if I have to do this every single show. Whatever the narrative is, I don't follow the noise. Let me say this. All right. Let me just give a score update. JPL, Javan Bryan in the 11th minute gives Waterhouse a 1-0 lead. All right. 16 minutes now gone in the game. Arnett 4, Mullines 0. All right. Let me say this, right? Where I am concerned. Because every day I said, I was asked to assist the men's senior team in the role that I function. It is not necessary for me to understand and read through the entire constitution of the Jamaica Football Federation in order to carry out the functions that I have given myself to do. One, I am not there for a very long time. It won't be just based on public sentiment. I'd prefer if some of you who want to, you go and do it or leave the football. That is my personal. It's not worth the chatter. because there are other ways I can help the football. I am volunteering my time because I thought it was important to help the program to a certain level of stability. It is apparent that many people have a different impression. And no matter how I talk about it, people are going to tell me that I'm on the inside and all of that. I don't know what that means because I'm not sitting. You see me here every day. I don't sit in the offices of the JFF. I don't. But if I want information to present to the fans of the show, then I can go and search. So I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. I don't know. It's people is not long. In fact, by the 1st of December, it's done. It's done. It's over. All right, and then those of you who you'll be happier. You understand what I mean? Because management won't be there anymore. It'll be an I am sure sports. So you will be happy with that. So please let us not go over this for the next couple of weeks that I have to do this. Because at the 1st of December, it's done. Of course, if I'm asked again, like I did the first time, I will engage my family. Of course, I'll talk to the Lord, engage my family, and the church that I lead, I will talk to the leadership. Then I have some subscribers and members and fans and followers and people who I respect that I will suggest it to them because I want to help my nation. That's it. And you understand me? And it's okay for you to talk, but we just want to know that.
We can get back to the reasoning
But
for whatever little time we have left.
James
Because
says, bet cataract that what he's saying isn't in the constitution. When you get it, you'll have a different. I am going to get it, because he's going to give me. And here's what I'm going to do, cataract. I'm going to put it for the people to read because you're going to apologize to me,
Well, no, I did my apology when I'm wrong.
But you're going to have a next apology because...
No, but that will be a little bit more because then I'll be rich. Because if I was misled by my lawyer...
I think you need to go
and
back.
Let me just say this clearly so that we say it. I am speaking about the new constitution that has 56 voting members and that was the one agreed with FIFA. Just so that we're clear.
Qatar, both of them were agreed with FIFA,
The most recent agreed constitution with FIFA.
Do you know why? You know why Trinidad went through the whole normalization?
No, I'm not care. I don't like Trinidad. I don't like the Soca Warriors. I like Red Mango. I don't like Trinidad football. I don't like them. I don't like the Soca Warriors. I don't like Dwight York. I don't like Angus Steve. Right? None of them. Them are my rival. Them are my friend.
Big up Joe Fortis. Big up yourself for the membership. 1 month. Appreciate it. Let me say this, people. Bam. With Trinidad, remember, FIFA actually came and did the same thing. Suspended them. They were suspended for a while, Certain things, right, were supposed to change. They did not change it. So the normalization had to had to go in.
Man, I beg your point of thing. Because you asked to clarify your name, right? And somebody come man in the thing beg something. James Smith, let me tell you something. I know the man finesse my words, Bertrand. If I ask my lawyer, and she sends me it in an email and a WhatsApp, I read it. I'm saying to you
so send me the WhatsApp, not get her, let me read it.
Did you know that no, I can't do that, sir. Because communication between a lawyer and a client is privileged. There's other advice in there. No, but there's other advice in there. That's a big man thing.
All right, Cataract. You said there are other advice in there that I can.
Yeah, man.
All right. Do you have the WhatsApp on your phone?
Do I have the WhatsApp on my phone? I have the email. The WhatsApp is a disappearing message. Some weird thing where WhatsApp disappeared over the phone. But I have the email. And we will speak. I will speak to it. I will hold on, man. Hold on, my brethren. Tomorrow when we have the program. I will be more than happy to read from it and quote you. And I'll be getting more legal advice tonight for my own self. Because nobody now pull the wool over my eye.
Would your attorney be willing to come and give her own take on the Constitution?
And I'll ask her.
Because I think it will be better for her to speak than you. Because you may be bringing her very name into disrepute. Because what you have said, your attorney told you this in a Ketara. That's dangerous, you know.
Why we say dangerous?
Eh?
Then Mr. Ricketts said his attorney advised him not to respond because he doesn't know what position or role the lawyer Jacqueline Cummins was writing him from. And when coach's desk read the letter, it stated clearly, I am writing you as a stakeholder in football.
Okay, and then that's two different things. Hold on,
No. I'm just saying to you, we act on the advice of our lawyers, even when it doesn't seem apparent.
Ketara, I am saying that acting on the behalf of your lawyer,
yes, sir,
quoting something and say it is my lawyer who told me.
Yeah, man.
All right. So all I'm saying is that I would like, if possible, for your lawyer to come and explain her understanding of the Constitution, because what I want to do,
I will ask. I've just said that. So what we're gonna? I said I will ask.
Okay, all right. And in the meantime, I will, as best as possible, find the specific.
Ask your lawyer.
Find it. No. Honestly, my attorney would not be engaged in this.
Okay.
Because it's not important.
I mean, that's important. The Constitution of Jamaican football is not important to you.
I must say that it is your attorney must be highly paid by you.
Yes, on retainer.
Okay, good.
Remember some fly and do the things that I remember some get bookings, so that they have to deal with my contracts them. We had a quash selector. Take the man can pull up the money and shove it in my hand. I said, go and hold this. I have a quash selector. I have an accountant and I have a lawyer. The two things that a businessman must always have.
Some of the time you talk, honestly, we can't.
No, but Marines, we have to deem it. What's the constitutional date by which an election must be called, and when that is or cannot is a breach. I can't sit comfortably as a Jamaican.
Where did your attorney get a copy of the new Constitution?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I don't know. I didn't ask.
Okay.
Where would I do that?
Oh, so you have actually not seen it? You have never seen the new Constitution?
I've seen the excerpts of it that she quoted. Because when they quote you, they quote case.
So can you email me the excerpt, not her interpretation?
Manage man. Come on and play. Because these are games. Because you say you don't want to play games. You are engaged to the JFF. But ask your boss for the Constitution and come bring it to the man them. I bet you never get a copy.
Okay. But your attorney can get a copy though.
Yeah, man.
All right. Big up to you.
Let me tell you a funny thing. Let me just tell you a funny thing, right?
No, this is serious business when you check it out. I need to talk to Neo as well.
Let me tell you a funny thing when you check it out. What some people don't understand. And I would encourage everybody in the chat, call the JFF tomorrow and ask for the Constitution. I'm going to hold it from you. And then I'll tell you where you can get it. You call CONCACAF offices or write to them.
Okay, so...
Because some things can't be hidden. Why is the Constitution of the JFF hidden?
No, but it's not hidden, Catara.
Is it on the website?
No, but your attorney got it, so it's not hidden.
Is it on the website, sir?
But your attorney got it.
Is it on the website, sir?
It not being on the website does not suggest that it is hidden. You can't say your attorney had access to it and say it is hidden.
Well, you asked her. I told you I didn't ask her where she get it from,
No,
but somebody can hide it and you find it and get access to it. That's all.
So if your attorney is probably
Is probably what.
See,
No,
Cardi-
no,
see,
I'm not gonna
see,
make you clown out my attorney, brother.
no,
I'm not
see,
gonna make you
oh
clown
Jesus
out my
Christ.
attorney.
No, I would
You
never do
understand?
that, and I would never do
So
that.
it's on the website. He's saying it's on the website. So everybody just run to the website and download it and read for yourself. So when we come tomorrow for the
Did you watch the match yesterday?
yes, I did all 90 minutes.
You were at the game.
No, I was not at the game. I was in Mobile.
Okay.
Time come.
All right.
And one of them time come something there. But I watched the match for 90 minutes though.
Oh,
Beginning to end.
cool. All right.
And I gave kudos to the captain. I thought she, in a difficult situation, pulled the girls together. But I liked Days, that's her name, the left player on the left. And I think, well, you know, some of the veteran, Marlon Sweatman and those, they showed their class in the thing. However, 1 point from a 2-game window is a poor return. And however people jump for joy and click them hand and try to spin a narrative, 1 point from a 2-game window is a poor return. It's the second worst return you can get. So there's no way of prettying that up.
Okay.
So this is what it is.
All right. Somebody's saying that Cataract, if you go to the JFF website and you go to the General Secretary report, you will see the Constitution.
Then go on, man.
No, but you, go read. But you are just saying that it is hidden. You are suggesting that it is hidden.
What's hidden from babes and sucklings?
Huh?
What is hidden from babes and sucklings? You know that Bible verse?
No, tell me. What it says?
Yeah, I preach about it.
No, you are quoting a Bible verse, so tell us what it says.
I said, do you know that Bible verse?
Right, and I'm saying that you are quoting it, so tell me.
Do you know that Bible verse? Yes or no?
Yes, what is hidden from babe and suckling? I don't know a Bible verse that says what is hidden from babe and suckling. Tell me.
I'm just asking you.
So you tell us, I'm saying I don't know, so you tell us the Bible verse. It sounds like something I don't want to know.
Oh God. Anyway, brother's tricky. He's the wise and the prudent. But anyhow.
What it says? I didn't hear
I said the wise and the prudent.
You said babe and suckling, the wise and the prudent.
No, out of the mouths of babes and sucklings. That's what the thing said. Out of the mouths of babes. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings.
So it don't say what is hidden from the babes and the suckling.
Oh, what's hidden from the wise and the prudent? But I don't find it, no, brother. May I tell you?
Jesus.
So in that constitution where you have, right, that you read, how the nomination for president go? How the nomination for president go?
Cataract.
Come, never say me don't know nothing. I'm fully done, sir. Never say me how does the nomination for president go? The one that you are afraid with and you read. That's not hidden. Right. That's what, you know, so I'm gonna stick to the select that thing. Pull up and then something there. Ain't got the thing called. But man, it's a serious thing, man. I bet joke about something. But you watch the game?
Watch bits and pieces of it.
Why bits and pieces?
Because I was at something that is way more, I think, important, that I had to be engaged in transforming people's lives. So you notice I was out for most of the weekend. I had to run out a year like a year on fire. On Friday.
Here on fire.
Yeah.
A Brazilian here on fire runs.
No. You know the little they're little rodent-like animals. You don't know them. You don't know a hare.
I know the rabbit.
You don't know a hare.
And a hare, but it's not a rodent. It's a rabbit. A rabbit's not a rodent.
I said a rodent-like. You know, you understand?
Not rodent-like. Okay, all right. So the hare on fire. You ever seen a hare on fire?
It's a very common saying.
Oh, okay. Like babes and sucklings.
So Cataract, I would suggest, right, that you go and read the Constitution.
No, man, I am going to seek my Constitutions are legal documents, you know, so they require interpretation. So I'm gonna lead on my own misunderstanding. But you said we'd be having discussion. I will put it to my lawyer. The matter of fact, more likely Wednesday. When I say Wednesday, yeah, I'm having like a 14. So I definitely have to see her tomorrow.
Okay.
Similar tomorrow, yeah. But
All
Wednesday,
right.
I'll ask her tomorrow. So I think Wednesday should, if she'll be able to jump on and deal with the matter properly. So some man not a lie, you know, when they go to court, they must stand up and defend themselves and court appointed lie and them something hype and broke. That not gonna work. So the game, I think the ladies did their best. They didn't disgrace themselves, but they, at the end of the day, their best was not good enough for what was required. Um, I was corrected last night that everything rests in their hands, and if they have 2 wins, they will go through, and if they get a win and a draw, then I think there might be some questions because they may end up in second place, but not miss out due to goal difference. Because if they get a no, Lord have mercy, who knows? Who
All
knows?
right, but cataract. Yeah, you actually know that there's a animal called here, right?
Yeah, man.
H-A-R-E.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. HCRE. The tortoise and the hare. The story of the tortoise
Okay, and you know
and the hare.
sometimes they try to set them on fire, set the hole. They burrow into the hole, and they normally set sometimes the hole on fire to get them out, and that is why the thing get a hair on fire.
No, when I want to hear, brother.
No, I'm just telling you. Sometimes they can learn things that you didn't know. It's
Yes, you ask me if I know, and I say I don't know, but I want to hear.
Yeah, but don't tell me that you do hunting, because that has nothing to do with it.
You want to say I don't hunt hares. I don't hunt them, so I don't know nothing about them.
Okay, cool. All right, welcome Brian Maiten to the chat. His team lost 4-0 to Arnett Gardens. Mobile United with the
Less than
Brazilians
7 though, Brian Martin. Is that Eli Smith coach here, Brian?
and the Brazilian players, they are down at this time.
Which
3-0 to
Brazilian
Waterhouse
players?
at halftime. I think there are 5 Brazilian players playing.
For who?
Huh?
For who?
For Mobile United.
Oh, Mobile United. Okay.
Yeah. Brian
Brazil
said
is a big country, you know.
we got a sound beating in the first half, but we'll be back for sure. Sound beating, I hope it wasn't cataract sound. It probably like fire links or something like that. Sound beating.
Okay, if I watch, if I Google anything I watch by YouTube, brother, we defend ourselves. Think the sound of crash or something.
Yeah, man. But people, listen, we want to say a big thank you to Cranky because he was the one who said, let's do a show today. He was up, as he said to you, he's all the way in Mumbai, India, and other engagements. So yeah, and he made an effort to be on the show. So I want to say a big thank you to him for being on, to Kyle for coming on, Coach Minzy at the coach's desk. Thank you so much. Simon Preston was also on earlier, and Cataract is also here. As here, H-E-A-R or H-E-R-E.
H-A-E-A-R?
Or H-E-R-E. Not the
No,
H-A-R-E.
sir. I'm on clip that. Clip that.
Don't worry yourself, Cataract. I was
Clip
spelling
that.
off screen. I
You're
was
the clip
spelling off
master
screen,
friend.
but
You know, so you never read out a question I ask, man. I'm gonna come on for beating. I'm gonna type some prudent questions and Mr. Preston was on it. Just like how the JFF's media team put up that somebody made their Hoke debut, H-O-K-E debut. We can go correct it something. Can't believe that. But seriously, the under 20 team, I asked about what is the status of their passports because we are now entering November. And this seems to would have put us to the same place where we were with the under 17 men's team the same time last year, when we know that the embassy in the UK is going to be closed down during December and in January. If you remember, that part of what happened with Zach Lovelace was couldn't get a date at the embassy because of the Christmas break. So I'm wondering if whether the players who we are told is the greatest side ever assembled by Ian. And I have some little concern.
yeah, well, I mean, we'll talk about that tomorrow because I'm going to end. That's a different. What I'll say is that there
And in
are.
November window. Manins. Are we going to get at least one new player in the November window?
I think that is
From the
something
Premier
that
League?
I think that is something that must be discussed with the coach. I think that's one of the things we have to respect as well. that, you know, we want Mr. Speed to stick to discussing the technical committee, but we want the team manager to tell us about new players. Leave that to the coach.
No. Let me go. Is there any new player available to the coach?
Leave that to the coach.
No. Availability is selection is the coach. Availability is management.
The coach.
You're not get to it, brother.
No.
You're not get to it, brother.
Players cannot be made available unless the coach has an interest in them. It comes
No,
back
sir.
to the coach.
No, man.
No team manager can go around and give the coach players to select from.
Give the coach players to select from? No. The team manager can become aware of players who are eligible for selection.
Huh?
Don't try the word gymnastic.
What?
The team manager is the competent authority on knowing which players are eligible.
That's a different
to represent
question.
Jamaica.
That's a different question.
Yes, but that's why I rephrased the question, because
you
you
did
said
not ask me about players
I
being.
rephrased the question.
So what is your question?
Are there any players who are now eligible to represent Jamaica that could be at the disposal of the coach?
Of course, then Cataract.
New players, man. New players,
Oh,
man.
you mean new players?
New players from England. The Premier League.
Oh, you want to know? I mean, I don't know. That is not part of my portfolio. Maybe Mr. Simpson, the general manager, would be somebody good for you to talk to.
You can bring on Mr. Simpson. Bring on your boss, man. But we can question him.
That's Mr. Simpson role.
So he won't speak to us, the regular members of John Public?
If you speak to the regular members of John Public?
Yes, sir.
Do you consider yourself to be regular?
I'm a member of John Public. I'm just a regular fella, you know.
Okay.
Sure, yeah, we just been a friend at first class. I'm just regular, but it's enough myself. But
Ketterak, one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do when you go on the shows, right, is
yeah,
that
man.
when you're saying things and the hosts are trying to just listen to them, right? That's number one. Number two, always be able to provide a point of reference, especially for the more outlandish statements you may make, so that people know that you have your source. Because what will happen is that over time, you will lose your credibility if you keep on saying that, oh, I was wrong, you know, okay, or it comes across that way. So just a word of advice for you.
So I wasn't wrong on a source. What I was wrong on yesterday is that I said that you want me to repeat, and people want me to repeat this. I can't try wrong. I said that our qualification didn't lie in our own hands, and someone pointed out to me that I understand now it's due to the fact that Canada had withdrawn from the under-20 from the women's World Cup, that those teams have finished playing each other, and therefore it's just Jamaica that both of them are left to come up against. That's mistakes. So there's no source. There's no source to quote from that.
Okay. There were some other things someone said about you talking about Mr. Ricketts going to Austria and not going to the girls' game as well.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Was he at any of the World Cup games?
I don't know, but
okay.
I think they said that you were corrected on that as well.
No, I wasn't corrected on that. And I'd go even further and say that on the 17 games, because I was there, that were played here in Jamaica, he was not at any of them. And he was here on the island.
Okay, so you're saying that every game, when the country plays a game, the president should be at all of them?
I'm saying at the World Cup, sir.
So you're saying that he did not go to any of the girls at the game at the World Cup?
No, sir.
All right.
And he was in Australia, but he can provide some selfies.
So what if I prove you wrong on that? Do you apologize again?
You prove me wrong?
Yeah, that he actually went to a game at the World Cup.
Went to a game. Okay. 4 games. He went to a game.
So
the president should be at every game. So let me tell you what I want you to prove me wrong with. Prove me wrong. Hold on, sir. Hold on now.
No, Ketterak.
He said when the host is speaking, I should shut up. I'm going to do that.
You just said the president. I ask you because the person said last night. You said the president was in Australia and did not go to the girls' game.
The senior women's World Cup games. He was not in attendance.
if I show you that he went when he was in Australia, he went to one of the games, and before that he was at the Gold Cup because he left from the Gold Cup, and he went to some FIFA Congress there and went to the game, and he went to the Gold Cup games before that, and then he was invited to the finals, and then by FIFA because all the MA presidents were invited.
All 195.
Every single MA who is a part of FIFA was invited to
Yeah,
the
that's what I
finals.
said. All 195.
I don't know the numbers. I'm just telling you.
But you don't know the rankings.
Did
You don't read the FIFA rankings.
Did you just say that Canada withdrew from the Gold Cup
I'm asking
qualifiers?
you about for the Gold Cup qualifiers. If Canada withdraw,
Canada is already in the women's.
in the women's. Okay. I'm asking.
No, Cataract.
Jesus. All right, here up. Let me say something. Let me say something. Open about it. I am new to this women's football thing, so I'm not as au fait. I said that before, and so I can stand corrected. I said, and let me begin again, that our fate was not in our own hands. Person said that this was a great result, 1 point from this window. That's what we need, and we will qualify because everything happened in December. And they were correct because the two teams don't have to play each other. So we don't have to depend on a result between Guatemala and Panama. We have to play them both. So they were correct. I was wrong. There you go. But what I want you to, what you can prove though is that the president attended any of the under 17 qualifiers for the women that was held here in Jamaica.
Okay.
And he was on the island.
Okay. All right. So you knew that the president was at the island, on the island?
On there, yeah, man.
Okay. And he did not go to any of those games. And you believe that once he's on the island, the U teams win, he should be at all the games?
World Cup qualifiers? Yes.
Okay. So the under 17 played World Cup qualifiers out here?
The under 17 girls didn't play any match out here?
No, I'm asking you what World Cup qualifiers did the under 17 play out here? I'm just asking. When was that?
So figure that out, but
I'm asking you.
I believe it's some work to do, man. You tell me, say you're going to provide the evidence. So just provide the evidence that he was there.
I did not tell you that. We spoke about Australia. You are asking me to provide evidence, and I never said that he did. I'm just asking you a simple question. Did the under 17 play World Cup qualifiers in Jamaica? That's all I'm asking you. Where can I ask you a question?
The under 17 girls have never played World Cup qualifiers in Jamaica? Just asking.
Did the Jamaica under 17 female team play World Cup qualifiers here in Jamaica? That's all I'm asking.
We've never played in Jamaica.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just asking you.
No, let me ask you what I am
asking. I'm asking you. What I'm asking you.
Did the under 17 girls play World Cup qualifiers in Jamaica, and tell me when that happened? Because you said for those the president was not at the games.
Yes.
So when was that? When did they play those?
When you will find it out now. Let me make my statement.
If you don't remember, you can say you don't remember, you know.
I don't remember. No, because I know right where you're running to, which is the last one. But is that the only one?
All I know is that...
I wait with bated breath about Australia. I would love to be proven wrong. Because as I said to you, I was in France, and I certainly saw Captain Horace Burrell, of blessed memory, at the game against Serbia. I saw him against Argentina. I was outside the stadium. I couldn't get a ticket to go into the Argentina game. When he played against Croatia, I was there. And I wasn't there for Japan, but he was there on the TV.
You remember that we had an under 17 team that played under 17 overseas. You remember that with Mia Mitchell and those? What? So when are you talking?
You can find out the man don't tell us. You can find out one day out.
All right. So people, I want somebody because one thing with my channel and a cataract, when it comes
No,
on, let me say this. One thing
go
I know,
ahead. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
trust the credibility of the people for the most part in the comment section when they provide. The last under 17 World Cup qualifiers, they were not played in Jamaica.
Did I use the word last?
So which one are you talking then? Which one? Before the last one, when was the other one that the president didn't go to much and you saw him in Jamaica? Tell me.
You have a thing where you inserted words when I say words, you know.
Yes, sir, it is. Which one are you talking? Which year? Seeing that you're not talking the last one, which year?
I attended in France, Jamaica versus Croatia. Let me start from there. Captain Burrell was present, right? All three matches for the men. I believe that anytime country qualifies for the World Cup, the head and the president of this organization should be there. I believe that for competitive games, give and take for friendly games, home matches, the president should be there. But for qualifiers, World Cup competitive game, World Cup tournament, must be there.
I didn't say I disagree with your cataract, but I'm asking.
World Cup, right?
I'm not talking. All right.
So here we're gonna do. Is it tomorrow a moment of truth? I'm gonna go. When I bring the Constitution part two.
So you're going to bring the Constitution part tomorrow?
No, I'm going to bring whatever else is there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'll bring the additional what I need to give you. So yeah, man.
All right.
I remember say you're gonna bring. Remember say you're gonna bring the something them from the World Cup, you know, where Prezi was there from the Women's World Cup in Australia.
I just said to you
that you bring the proof. Women's World Cup in Australia, 2023.
Let me say to you again. The president of the JFF was at Jamaica's first Gold Cup game.
Women's World Cup, I'm speaking of.
All right. The president of the JFF. So the first game, I think the second game was in St. Louis. He was in that game. There was a FIFA Congress at the World in Australia. The Congress. So it was FIFA who invited the president to the Congress. That is why Elaine Walker Brown was there. It's kind of funny, you know why I'm asking these things? Here's why I'm asking these things, Cataract. Because one of the issues we have had very simple issue is this. People always say that too many persons travel with the team.
Yes.
All right. So you and I agree,
Non-essential persons.
You and I agree that the president of the football should be at every competitive game.
No. World Cup. Competition game. Yeah, man.
Every competitive game that the team, we agree on that.
No, man. Competition.
So competitive. All right. I'm talking about competition game.
So like if you play, hold on. If you play a World Cup qualifier against Trinidad, I wouldn't have to be there. But I'm saying if we go to the World Cup, they must be there.
Understood. All right. Anyway, we're gonna have to run now, because
man.
Yeah, look, it sound like you want to sleep, but big up yourself, Keter.
No, man. Work, I have to do it, brother.
Yeah, man. Go work, man. Big up yourself.
We go play some song, but I feel like I wonder if the place still standing due to the earthquake. I'm gonna hear from it from one stop.
Yeah, man. But big up yourself. Listen, thanks to everyone in the comment section, to my very loyal, respectful. I always say this, it gives me a joy because I like the fact that people can be engaged in the comment section without using loose terms and all of that. And for the most part, every now and then we have our challenges, but it is very respectful. And that is why many guests, even parents will allow their kids to be interviewed on this platform. And persons from overseas like being on this platform because the truth is there's a sense of respect, even discussing the most controversial issues. And so I want to say a big thank you to all of you for doing that. I mean, when I'm not around, so many of you reach out and say, "Is everything okay?" But I always say, I live a very busy life, and there are other things that I have to do to, you understand me, to take care of loved ones and stuff. So when you don't see me here, sometimes it's because there are other duties. But, every moment not being here, I tell you this, I miss the opportunities to have the conversations because you learn a lot and it helps you when you are philanthropical in your life and your thoughts. The kind of engagement that are here, they teach you how you can make an impact in people's life. And so all of you're loved and you're appreciated. As usual, I encourage you to live good, be good, and yeah. And yeah, man, we will definitely do this again tomorrow. I am Management. This has been I am Sure Sports. Waterhouse leading Mobile United 3 goals to nil in second half. You understand me? But bless up yourself, AM Henry. At some point, you're gonna have to come and join. Tell me what you want to discuss, and so we can keep it there, all right? And I know that we will have Cataract in the comment section only, so you don't have to worry about him. But we probably invite his attorney at that day.
So I will be in because I will be in the comment section. And oh, what a day it will be.
All right. All right. So bless up to every single one of you. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening. I am Manningsman. This has been I Am Sure Sports. Just like the earthquake, no one knew it was going to happen, and many people panicked. So shall the coming of the Lord be. Will you be ready when he finally makes his second appearing?
That was very spiritual. I thought you were going to be secular and said just like management program coming out 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we expect it 11 in the morning.
Yeah, yeah,
But are
let
we
me
back at the regular time though, manage? That's the question I want to ask you. Are we back at the regular time tomorrow?
Cataract. I'm trying to end my program with a word of encouragement. And the man just, people, bless up yourself. Like, I'm on
Praises
this
be to the
has
Most
been,
High.
I am sure sports. And when it comes to this point of the program, we say we're over and we are out of here.